cut short. Voters in yesterday's Colorado primary race choosing a progressive newcomer over a 15-term Democratic incumbent. ABC's Stephen Portnoy has more.
The result in the Denver area district ends the congressional career of Diana DeGette, who has served in the House since 1997. She was defeated by a challenger who was born that same year. Milat Kiros, who emigrated from Ethiopia as an infant, is the latest member of the Democratic Socialists of America to oust a Democratic incumbent. Republicans point to Kiros' comment in a local news interview that the 9/11 attacks were an inevitable consequence of America destabilizing the Middle East.
In Pennsylvania, evacuation orders have been lifted near a freight train derailment yesterday north of Philadelphia. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month with Window Nation at 50% off all window styles. Yes, 50% off new, beautiful, energy-efficient windows, plus zero down, zero interest, and no payments for 2 years. Call now, 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
My grades were bad. I would get D's and C's.
I appeared to be doing good at my school life, but if you would see me at home, it would have been a completely different story.
I mean, it was just rough focusing on school when your mother is somebody you have to take care of. It got worse and worse and worse throughout the years.
There are students who need somebody.
They can trust someone, and it could be the first person they've ever trusted in their life.
Communities in Schools is lowering America's dropout rate by helping more than 1.3 million kids every year get whatever they need to succeed in school.
If something was going on at home, we would go just stop by Miss Liberty's office and talk to her.
Communities in Schools vouched for me when everyone else had lost hope.
You can help change the picture of education right here in your community and across the nation. Visit communitiesInschools.org.
I hear people say we can't save every kid, but I think that we can.
Children who grow up in poverty are part of a destructive cycle. Childhood poverty creates adult poverty, creates childhood poverty, and on and on. At Child Fund International, we find this unacceptable. So we do all we can. In 25 countries, we are vigorously fighting poverty and improving the lives of over 11 million children and their families. Today's childhood poverty must not become tomorrow's. Learn more at childfund.org.
WPHT, WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. Lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
307 Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Casey Bartholomew. I'll be with you until 7 o'clock. That's when Fox Across America with Jimmy Fela comes on. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. I'm going to get to something else here, but I'm sure you've heard the story just in our news. And if you saw the video, my wife is afraid of heights, so she couldn't watch it. Which meant that I couldn't watch it. But I did eventually see it on the interwebs. But a pair of kissing daredevils scaled the Empire State Building's 454-foot antenna for an Instagram stunt before being arrested. Angela Nicolou, I don't know, and her, now fiancé, Ivan, were carrying a banner reading, "When the power of love beats the love of power, the world knows peace." Weep softly to myself for a while there. The banner's message is a slightly modified version of a quote frequently misattributed to Jimi Hendrix, actually spoken by a 19th century British politician. I'm looking at these two winners. They look like the kind of idiots that would crawl up the spire of the Empire State Building just for fun. After lingering at the top of the tower for around 30 minutes, the climbers began making their way down the spire to the viewing platform, which appears to have been evacuated. Yeah, I guess they would have to do that, because who knows what they're going to do, right? Are they going to jump? I mean, everybody in the news, I tell you one of the dirty secrets about the news media since I work in it. Everybody was hoping they would jump or fall or something like that would happen. As the couple reached a platform at the base of the spire, the guy dropped down to one knee and proposed to the unattractive woman who was wearing a black hat mask with a ring that she later flaunted on the interwebs. The couple, who live in East Orange, New Jersey, was taken into custody without incident because they did there's no incident to make. They got their little interweb fame, and now there's no incident to have at all. It was not immediately clear if they bought tickets to access the observation deck. That's the problem. We don't care that they went up to the very tippy top, the spire on top of the Empire State Building. That's not a big deal. Did they have tickets? I'm guessing they didn't have tickets to climb to the top of the spire. I've been up there. I wouldn't want to do that. I almost have to hold on to the side. I'm not afraid of heights. Source familiar said they allegedly breached a mesh gate. You can't just break through mesh. It's one of the strongest materials known to man. On the 102nd floor, a publicly accessible floor, to reach the 103rd floor, which gave them access to the spire. An Empire State Building spokesperson said, whoops. No, they didn't say it. They said the unauthorized incident at the building has been resolved with the constructive, helpful coordination of the NYPD. There was at no time danger to tenants, visitors, and Empire State Building observation deck guests. Well, there was. If they had fallen down, there absolutely was danger. That's a lie. Jaw-dropping POV-style footage of their vantage from the top of the Empire State Building was also posted on the internet, of course, because nobody can have a bowel movement without posting it on the internet anymore. The woman who describes herself as a neo-artist exploring identify, fear, and freedom. What? A lot of the photos of her page feature her with the idiot guy, presumably the guy that she's with, atop several other world-renowned tall structures, including the Bay Bridge in San Francisco and the Merdeka 118 in Kuala Lumpur, the world's second tallest building. So they do this for fun, I guess, and to try to freak everybody out. The Instagram account claims the couple were the subjects of a 2024 Netflix documentary called Skywalkers, A Love Story, which premiered at the Sundance Film Festival that year, which I will not be watching. So there you go. That's if you hadn't heard the story. A couple of idiots climbed up to the top of the Empire State Building for attention, and we gave it to them, as we will. No judgment. All right, it is 3:11 now. This comes up every time there's a heat wave. And the latest story I caught, now this comes up everywhere. This is a nationwide problem. It happens in Pennsylvania. This latest story came from Ohio, out of Dayton, Ohio. There's some concern about the women's prison. Now, I'll be honest, I was a very young kid in the 1980s and I had Cinemax. My only experience with women's prisons are the caged heat movies that I would watch on Cinemax after dark when my parents went to bed during the summer. But apparently a sweltering Ohio heat wave has reportedly ballooned temperatures inside Dayton's women's prison with scant options to cool down. Well, they could. I mean, if they look like the girls from Caged Heat, they could disrobe. That would probably add a level of comfort. I'm just throwing things out there. I'm an idea man. But families and friends of the inmates are saying this. According to Candy Abrams, a loved one of a Dayton Correctional Institute inmate named Valerie Ryder. Those names sound made up. Candy Abrams and Valerie Ryder. Are they strippers? Said they used to be able to open the windows. You could open the windows at the prison? You're doing it wrong. But anyway, they could open the windows, but they sealed them shut so they get no breeze. The unit that she's in, the air conditioning went out. If it works, it only half works most of the time. I have a fail-safe. This is 100% foolproof. If you don't want to live in a prison that doesn't have air conditioning, I have I'm not even going to charge you for it. This is free advice. Don't break the law. Don't do anything that gets you locked in a cage like a freaking idiot. And if you get locked in the cage, I don't care if you're hot. I don't care if you're too hot. I don't care if you're too cold. I don't care what they feed you. Nothing matters to me once you get locked in the cage with the other freaks. I don't particularly care. And we get these stories every year especially when there's a heat wave. Especially when there's a heat wave, where they talk about, prisoners, it's already a tense situation. Oh, yeah, don't kill anybody. Don't rob anything. Don't vandalize. Don't beat anybody up. Don't take drugs. Don't sell drugs. Don't do all the things that are very clearly written down somewhere. I don't know. And you won't end up locked in a cage where you will have to deal with the extreme heat. If you do, I don't care. Really, words cannot express how little I care about how you are being tortured in a prison. Prison is punitive. You are being punished. You made bad decisions. Is it a little hot for you? Do you think your victims care? Because I don't. Now, Candy Abrams, the friend, relayed that there are a few options to cool down, given that there's limited access to ice. They get ice. And inmates are required to wear uniforms when they leave their cells. Oh, no. The horror. She said, I understand they're in prison, but are they not still humans that can suffer? Yeah, they are. That's why we're doing it. That's why there's no AC, because they're still humans who can suffer, and they should. And also die from neglect. They're not being neglected. And by evidence of the fact there's a whole news story about it. Another person reached out on behalf of a loved one but asked to remain anonymous. In an email, he relayed what his significant other is currently seeing in the prison. He says, they sealed off all the windows and will not open them. It's a prison. Yes, the windows are sealed off. It's a prison. You were naughty. Not like caged heat naughty, different kind of naughty, but you're being locked up, and that's the way it goes. There's no ventilation at all, and there's no air coming out of a lot of the vents, if any at all. She said it's like a sauna in her room constantly. It's extremely inhumane, not unlike the crimes they committed against society. Those are inhumane as well. Now, I looked it up. I have access to the internet. I didn't yesterday, but I do now. Of the 24 Pennsylvania state prisons, 15 facilities are mostly or fully air-conditioned, 15, while 9 facilities lack universal air conditioning. The remaining 9 prisons are broken down by the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections as follows. 5 prisons have only partial air conditioning coverage. 4 prisons have very limited or no air conditioning in areas where incarcerated people live, work, and gather. Makes it sound like a community. They're freaks. They deserve to be punished. Older facilities and those with limited cooling include prisons like Dallas, Huntington, Laurel Highlands, Muncie, Quihana Boot Camp, and Rockview. So there's a lot of prisons. I'm honestly shocked that there are 15 facilities in the state that have air conditioning. Why are we giving these freaks comfort? We've worked so long and so hard in this country on behalf of rotten human beings. Terrible, awful, evil, nasty, bad people to make sure that, prison has to be comfortable and it has to be rehabilitative. It doesn't. Prison is punitive. Like I said, you're being punished. You were naughty. You were bad. And you deserve to be locked in a room that doesn't have AC because we pay for it. Talked about it yesterday on the show briefly. Where I asked because there's a lot of people who don't have air conditioning. I would not even consider, and I'm not paying for it for you freaks, but I would not even consider giving air conditioning to prisoners if I got normal human beings who don't break the law, or actual human beings, maybe I should say, who don't break the law, who are suffering in their own homes because these freaks made bad decisions. Just add it to the list, right? Free food, free medical care, room and board. They get internet access, they get cable, they get exercise, they get all these different things that the rest of us don't always get because we can't afford them, and they're the ones that broke the law. I am curious, and I would like to hear your comments on this because this is a nationwide thing. This is a nationwide problem that they're dealing with. And for some reason, concerns about and complaints about the scorching heat in the nation's prison are commonplace each summer with a good percentage of prisons in every state not having access to air conditioning for the rapists and the murderers, the thugs, the drug dealers, whoever. I want to know if you would be willing to pay your taxpayer dollars in order to make sure thugs, scumbags, inhumans, well, I don't care what you want to call them. When you're locked in the cage, you mean nothing to me. You only matter the day you get out. And that's only because I don't ever want to see you. I don't even want to be in the same room as you. And I'd like notification of that, by the way. I think they should have to wear their prison uniforms in prison and when they get out. That way I know. So I can make sure I'm safe and my family is safe. But would you be willing to spend your hard-earned dollars in order to make sure the worst human beings on the face of the planet are comfy when it gets a touch too warm outside, when it gets a little bit too hot? Because that's what we're asking. We're supposed to be humane. We're supposed to be sensitive. We're supposed to be willing to pay for that, for these scumbags to be comfortable when they broke laws affecting other human beings. And if so, where would you draw the line? 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. And I'm serious about that because, should we create a class system? Can the rapists have AC? I mean, are you willing to let rapists have air conditioning before normal human beings, actual human beings? Well, what about murderers? Child molesters? Do child molesters get AC? Because you can't draw a line when they're all locked in the cages. I'm actually not even shocked. I'm annoyed that there are 15 facilities that are mostly or fully air conditioned, and some of them have partial air conditioning. If they have partial air conditioning, it's oftentimes in the common areas. It's oftentimes in the medical facilities and the like. It's very rarely, if they have limited, it's very rarely in the where the prisoners sleep. I was going to say people, but they're not people. Where the prisoners sleep and in their cages, where they belong. It's very rarely in there. I would create a caveat. I would say they can have air conditioning for the guards. For those, because those are actual people who are keeping the freaks at bay from the rest of us. So they can have that. And any place where the guards are or the general public, not the visitors, that should be hot in the waiting rooms and all the visitation rooms, all that kind of stuff too. But any place where actual employees go, I would be okay with. And this came up a couple of years ago. I was living in Texas, and apparently the majority in Texas gets pretty hot. So it was funny every time it came out, and I laughed. And I got letters from prisoners when I did it, and I read them on the air, and that made me laugh even more because it was all about, we're people too. We're people too. I'm paying the price for my crime, but we're people too. As all I had a whole file of them. It was great. But a lot of those prisons didn't have air conditioning, and there was this massive push to try to get it to have air conditioning, to try to require it to have air conditioning. And they didn't quite get there. Little by little, they were doing it. But I could never understand this idea where we have to make prison more comfortable. Prison should be a cage, a cot, and a toilet or bucket. It depends on how much money the community has. I'll leave that to the individual community. Something like that where they could relieve themselves, and a sink to wash their hands, things like that. Something along those lines, that's what they should get. But when you're talking about the creature comforts, I grew up without air conditioning. I knew how bad it was. So if the general public can't afford air conditioning, why are we providing it, or why is there a push to provide it? And why do the loved ones of these freaks complain every summer, every time it pops up, that their loved ones are suffering? And I love that. I'm sure there's bars on the window. God, I hope. I wouldn't change anything. They said they sealed up the windows. They can't open the windows anymore. You're in a prison. You don't get to open windows. But it's a women's prison. Maybe they thought it was a little easier because they were women, and maybe they felt like women weren't as violent or as dangerous as the rest of us. I don't know if you've ever been to a high school lately, but girls are among the most vicious, violent, evil creatures on the planet. And then when you put them in jail, it becomes even worse because they break rules and break laws, and they're being punished for that. But I can't understand the mindset, and I get that there's a segment of society out there whose job it is to cry. I get that there's an entire segment of society whose job it is to weep softly to themselves and feel like they're standing up for the disenfranchised and the people who are separated from society. I understand all of that. I don't know why they do it. I would sit back and, it's like, gosh, I could get a job doing something meaningful. I could get a job doing something that was worthwhile. I could get a job doing something that would make society better. I could use my powers for good instead of evil, or I could literally spend my days, and there are advocates. I talked to a whole bunch of them, and like I said, this was in, where the hell was this? Dayton is where it was. But I could spend my days trying to help the people who need help, or I could spend my days speaking up for the worst things on the planet. I could spend my day championing the causes of people who are breaking the law, of people who suck, of people who have chosen to do things that get them locked in a cage. So I will tell you, you remember Joe Arpaio. Everybody remembers Joe Arpaio. He was in Arizona, Maricopa County, Arizona. I interviewed him several times. He was a hoot. But you could always get him on the air, too. You could always get him on the phone because he didn't care if anybody hated him, and he actually fed off of it, I think. But you could get him on, and he had his inmates living in, I believe they were tents, Army surplus tents from North Korea, and they lived outside in the Arizona summer. There were TVs around that only aired cartoons and the Disney Channel at the time. This was before the Disney Channel aired shows with like real people. I don't know if they would want to air the Disney Channel now because we're looking at shows with young boys and young girls on that, and that would be creepy weird if prisoners were watching that. But either way, at the time it was mostly cartoons, and they got fed a gelatinous loaf of, while expired, still technically good foods, and they would just mash them all together, and then they would have to eat that. And I don't have any issue with that. That's the way it should be. But if we have to keep them indoors, I imagine in Pennsylvania, where we get snow, that we would want to keep them inside. But air conditioning, heating, any of that is off the table. And it should be not viewed as torture for the scumbags who have made decisions to do things that require them to be locked in cages. That's not, I hate them for that, but they've made those decisions, and that's fine. It shouldn't be looked as punishment. It shouldn't be looked at as trying to abuse or beat or further damage the poor, dear little sweet things that have raped women and stolen from people and molested children and murdered and all that kind of stuff. It should be looked at the rest of us as a deterrent. I don't want to go into a place where it's going to be 90 degrees, 95 degrees, and there's no air conditioning. I don't want that to happen. That's reason enough for me to not break the law and not do anything that would get me locked in a cage. Also, I know that I would be someone's bitch if I went into prison, let's just be honest. I wouldn't do well if I was locked in a cage. So I don't do such things that get me locked in a cage. But if you do, the moment you commit that act, the moment we catch you, the moment you have been convicted, and the moment we have chosen to keep you separated from the rest of society with bars and razor wire and guys with guns, I cease caring about you. I cease caring if you're comfortable. I don't care if you're sick. I don't care if you're healthy. I don't care if you get exercise. I don't care if you get entertainment. I don't care. I especially don't care if you have air conditioning. That should be the last thing that we do when it comes to the prison system. Everything else will have to be fully funded and paid for before we ever agree to fully air condition the prisons. And the prisons that have it, I'd pull it. That'd be the first thing I'd pull when the cuts needed to be made, because cuts are always needing to be made. But I'm on my soapbox a little bit here because it annoys me that people who break the law, get locked in prison, have the audacity to cry and whine because they don't have the creature comforts that a lot of people who didn't break the law, who haven't made bad decisions. And let's be honest, they make bad decisions. But all the people who don't do rotten things and aren't rotten human beings do. Some of them don't have air conditioning. And I'm supposed to care and be more than happy, more than willing to, because this isn't just going to be like hundreds of dollars. We're going to talk about an entire prison system over time to implement, to install, to do the ductwork, and to keep running with the energy costs the way they are. We're talking about a multi-million-dollar enterprise for people who have made decisions that get them locked in a cage. For freaks and people who suck. And I'm not willing to pay for that. What about you? All right, 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. We will take your phone calls to get some other stuff coming up. My name is Casey Bartholomew. It is 3:29. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
If you own a small business, the pressure never lets up. Something's always coming at you. That's why business owners turn to LendSeek for funding.
I don't need promises. I need options. LendSeek's AI platform showed me real funding choices. Now I can cover payroll, handle taxes, and go after growth opportunities without the daily stress.
Up to $5 million with funding in as fast as 24 hours. No upfront costs. No prepayment penalties. Start ready, stay ready. LendSeek.com. LendSeek.com.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
It is not hard to destroy a college.
Last season, the podcast Campus Files brought you stories of fraternity drug rings, stolen body parts, campus cults, and more.
And now, Campus Files is back for another season.
There's a guy screaming into his phone. He's like, I just saw Charlie Kirk get assassinated right in front of me.
Every week is a new episode and a new story.
It was so chaotic.
It's almost like a university under siege.
Listen to and follow Campus Files, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by LendSeek.
AI agents are becoming a popular choice for travel plans. Adobe reports that traffic from AI sources to travel-related websites soared 194% in May year over year, with hotels, rental cars, cruise lines, and airlines seeing increasing interactions with ChatGPT and Claude. Other retail categories seeing strong AI agent traffic include cosmetics and electronics. I'm Jason Brooks.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hit the road this season to watch the Birds. Book your road trip with Fans of Philly. Trips are available now for Nashville, Arizona, Chicago, and London. Travel in style with transportation, a pregame party, and game tickets to enjoy the Birds on the road this season with Fans of Philly. The official travel partner of 94 WIP and the Eagles Radio Network. Book now at fansofphilly.com. That's fans with a PH of Philly.com.
PNC Bank loves an exciting game, but they also think a little boring can go a long way. You see, boring banking means you're doing the right things. That's why PNC leaves the third and long to the professionals. Reliable fiscal strategies are more in their zone anyway. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
It was just
one unforgettable night.
One of those things.
An evening with Harry Connick Jr.
Just one of those crazy flings.
Performing songs from across his remarkable career.
Well, come by me,
Harry Connick Jr.
Come talk to me, baby.
Friday, July 24th. Borgata Hotel, Casino, and Spa. Tickets are on sale now at theborgata.com.
You got to go see the Mardi Gras.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at progressive.com.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Auto Group studios. Experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
.334, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Casey Bartholomew. I'll be with you until 7 o'clock tonight. Stick around after the news at 7. Fox Across America with Jimmy Fela will be on. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. We have been talking about air conditioning. It's popped up, a story popped up out of Dayton where there's a women's prison out there. I know that sounds hot on the surface. But there's a women's prison out there, and the women's prison doesn't have enough air conditioning, and the family members of them are complaining because horrible human beings who are locked in cages and made bad decisions aren't getting all the creature comforts, that their victims get, I guess. And I looked it up, and in Pennsylvania, there's 24 state prisons. 15 of them are mostly or fully air-conditioned. I hate that. I think we should cut that immediately. 9 facilities lack air conditioning, universal air conditioning. Usually when they lack that, it's in like the infirmary, the doctor's place, or where the staff works, or possibly in a general population area. But I want to know if you would want your tax dollars going to make sure the worst people on the face of the planet are comfortable. 855-839-1210. Let's go to caller out of Marlton, Casey. You're on WPHT with Casey. Go ahead.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm always fine.
So I'm a straight conservative. I did about 7.5 years in federal prison. We are the ones who work the prison, not the guards. We cook, we do the yard, we do the electric, we do the plumbing, we do everything.
Good for you.
So I don't understand why you don't think. We even cook for the staff.
Oh, I wouldn't. Oh my God, I wouldn't eat food that a prisoner cooked. Oh my God, you're asking for trouble.
We are rated as a 5-star. I did federal prison. Mm-hmm. We are rated as a 5-star restaurant.
I would bring an Uncrustable and a bottle of Yoo-Hoo with me before I would eat anything that a prisoner cooked.
So if you talk to most cops, they all say, we could have been in your shoes. We just didn't get caught. So you're telling me
all the cops say that. All the cops say that, huh? What's that?
You're going to tell me that you never went over the speed limit or you never broke a law.
Well, going over the speed limit isn't a jailable offense. You have to do something bad to get locked in a cage. What did you do?
Well, what if your ex was selling drugs and you didn't know about it?
Then I'm really a very not very aware boyfriend, I guess, or husband. But my ex never sold drugs. I've never
girlfriend.
What? Your girlfriend was selling drugs, and that's why you went to jail? You had a really bad lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No? Did you know about it?
No.
You didn't know anything about your
ex?
That's fine. You didn't know anything about your girlfriend selling drugs? Nothing? Not a clue?
I did, but they didn't know I did. They had
wait
no
a minute.
proof.
Wait a minute. That's two different things. When you started talking about that, said, what if your girlfriend was selling drugs and you didn't know about it? You knew about it.
Right.
So I have no sympathy for you.
But they did not know I knew about it.
I don't care if they knew. I know now. And so I don't care that you were in a cage.
So what happens if your child breaks the law
He
and
goes to jail.
jail?
They go to jail. Either one of them would go to jail. I have 2 kids. Either one of them would go to jail, and that would suck. I would hate that. But I wouldn't expect the rest of the world to pay. Hey, can you pay for somebody to fluff my kid's pillow and put a little mint on it before they go to bed? They're in jail. They deserve to be treated as someone who's in jail, which is badly, by the way.
Right. Well, not everybody thinks like you. And
well, they should. You know what? If everybody thought like me, the world would be a better place. Okay? I want prisoners punished.
Maybe you need to start talking about the communists that are being elected and shit like that. And
whoa, hey. I could tell you've been in prison. You used a bad language word. All right, so look. Every other talk show will tell you about the socialists being elected in New York. It's a bad thing. This is also a thing that's happening. And this is a thing that if we don't put a stop to it, if people aren't aware of it, especially in a place like Pennsylvania or maybe some blue states out there, if we don't talk about it and put a stop to it, then this is where your tax dollars are going to go. This is what happens. You end up paying money so people like you, Casey, I know you were speaking out of both sides of your mouth too, sweetheart, because it's like, what if you didn't know your girlfriend was selling drugs, but then you knew your girlfriend was selling drugs? So I have no problem with you being locked in a cage. I have no problem with you being incarcerated, locked in a cage, taking group showers, and suffering in an unair-conditioned room. I'm not going to shed one single tear for you because it doesn't matter if they didn't know. They apparently did know that you knew because you ended up locked up. And you don't want this talked about. It's funny how nobody ever wants the things talked about that affect them. Nobody wants to, well, what if my kid, what if my kid broke the law? If my kid broke the law, I would expect them to go to jail. If one of my kids was in jail, I would expect them to live in a place that didn't have air conditioning. That's what I would expect. Would I be happy about it? No. But it wouldn't come on the radio and go, but he didn't get a heating pad for his tum-tum ache, and nobody read him to his night story, and the warm milk was cold. He didn't get warm milk. You're in jail. You suck. I don't care. I don't care what your family thinks about you. I don't care that you that you were a good guy once. You broke the law and you got caught. And yes, I have exceeded the speed limit. There are times when if the speed limit is 70 miles an hour, I might push it up to 80. But I'm kind of a bad boy with my Mickey Mouse watch collection. But you probably, I don't expect people to be as badass as me. But at this point in time, if I get a speeding ticket, that's not a jailable offense. As long as I pay it and do everything I'm supposed to do, which I would do. You're trying to compare drug sales, which you knew about, to speeding. I don't think they're even kept in the... I don't think people who speed get put in jail, but I wouldn't even imagine they would be kept in the same general area if that were to happen. I don't think the sentence would be quite as severe as the woman who was well aware that her girlfriend was selling drugs. Try to picture, like, if I murdered someone, yes, if I murder someone, and I have thought about, but if I murder someone, I would get locked in jail. I would expect not to have the creature comforts. I would expect not to have air conditioning. In fact, I'm so self-abusive that I would probably insist upon it. But either way, I certainly wouldn't expect a hotel room with a view and I could guard, jailer, the remote control is broken. We need batteries this instant. I don't care about stuff like that. I don't care if you have that. I hold people to the decisions they have made. You made the decision to be in a relationship with someone you knew was selling drugs. You got caught. You got locked up. Congratulations to you. You now get all of the perks of being a freak who was dating somebody who was selling drugs. Good for you. But one of those perks is living in a cage that doesn't have air conditioning. And I just love this. It's like, what about you? I have never done anything to get locked up. Ever. Not in my life. I say, I'm thinking, no, never. I've never done anything that would get me incarcerated. Never. Not a single time. Not once. I've never done drugs. This freaks everybody out when I say it. Get ready. I've never had a drink of alcohol. Ever. No reason. I don't like the smell of it when I was a kid, so I've never had alcohol. So all that kind of stuff. And by the way, when it comes down to the eating food that prisoners make, maybe I watch too much TV. Strike that. I watch too much TV. But I would never consume food that was prepared by somebody that was locked in a cage. I'm brown bagging it, man. I'm not eating anything that a worthless, vile, scummy prisoner puts together for me. And by the way, if I find out that the guy cooking the food in the back of whatever high-class Chili's I go to was a criminal, I'm not eating there anymore either. I might get prisoner on me, and I don't want to get prisoner on me. I don't know if if I eat food prepared by a prisoner, will I want to break the law? Is that a virus of some kind that I could get? I don't want to get it, so I'm just not going to do that because I like having air conditioning. All right, 855. I love this. What about your kids? What about you? What about them? 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. My name is Casey Bartholomew. It is 3:45. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
The very first thing you taught me was to be fair. No cutting in line. Play by the rules. Play by the rules. Don't pick on the little kids.
It's important. It's the right thing to do.
It's good for our family.
It's good for our neighborhood.
It's good for the whole world. Buy fair, be fair. Visit befair.org to learn more.
I'm glad we had this talk.
You know what I don't like? Paying for something twice. I can't stand that. Hey, it's Rich Zioli. That's why when it comes to your roof, siding, doors, and windows, there's only one call you should make, and that's to my guys at Emmons Roofing and Siding. Emmons is a Platinum Owens Corning contractor, which means that Owens Corning backs not just the shingles, but the workmanship as well for life. That's right, for life. Roofing, siding, windows, doors, residential or commercial, done right the first time, every time. Go to emmonsroofing.com.
Explore new places with an auto loan from American Heritage Credit Union. We're proud to offer auto loans on both new and used vehicles with low monthly payments and flexible terms up to 84 months, as well as auto lease buyout options. Celebrate 250 years of beauty across America. Visit AmericanHeritageCU.org/auto to get started. Insured by the NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender. Not a member? Join today.
As a combat wounded veteran, I know how hard it is to come home and build a meaningful life. I'm LaToya Lucas, and I'm a veteran. When I was in Iraq, our vehicle was hit. A rocket-propelled grenade exploded right under my seat. Traumatic brain injury, a fractured pelvis, severe burns. They didn't think I was going to make it. I had to learn to live with the scars, both visible and invisible.
DAV helps veterans like LaToya get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year in life-changing ways.
With DAV on my side, I was able to pursue my dreams. If my story can touch a heart, it can change a life. My victory is overcoming my wounds so I can help other veterans.
LaToya Lucas, may your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, You can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-358-6868. That's 800-358-6868. Again, 800-358-6868.
You can now tune in to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
.349 Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Casey Bartholomew. I'm here until 7. Stick around after 7. That's when Fox Across America with Jimmy Fallon comes on. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. Apparently, the American dream is alive and well. They did a poll. They did a bunch of polls because it's America 250, which people desperately don't want to care about. Only because Trump's president, but that's all right. 2/3 of United States residents say they have either achieved the American dream or on their way to it. They don't define what the American dream is. So I guess it's different for everybody. I got married, had kids, and I own a house. There you go. So I guess I did it. Yay me. But while a growing number believe it is increasingly becoming a pipe dream. This is what an America 250th anniversary survey found. The patriotic poll revealed that 67% of respondents have achieved or are pursuing the American dream. 64% believe the land of opportunity can unite Americans. There's maybe someday again. It used to, but someday again, maybe. We're not seeing that now, are we? We're seeing people would rather not celebrate the country because who's the president regardless. But anyway, 64% believe the land of opportunity can unite Americans. It's not. And 71% say they have a similar or more opportunities than their parents did. 73% of respondents said that they're proud to be an American, and only 73%. That's a C-, by the way, if you're grading. And 70% say that being an American is an important part of their identity. Well, it is for me. Oh, we got another caller on the prisoner thing. Let's talk real quick to Linda in Philadelphia before we run out of time. Linda, you're on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT with Casey. Go ahead.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm fine.
I've been listening to your comments about the prison situation and how prisoners are unhappy with where they are at this time. Well, first, let me say I'm glad I'm in America.
That was a different poll. Yeah, go ahead.
Best deal on the planet. But anyway, back in the day, especially I believe back in the times of the Romans, somebody else took care of you when you went to prison. If you didn't have somebody that came to see about you, to bring you food, to bring you clothing, then you just about suffered with whatever the Romans gave you.
Yeah, that was that the Roman Empire fell. That's why.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah, that's the reason, because they were nice to prisoners.
No.
It's true, and that's a historical fact. Now, I minored in history in college, and I remember studying that the Roman Empire fell because they treated their prisoners too kindly.
Well, then we're doomed.
Yep. Well, we're certainly doing it, aren't we here? But no, I think abuse and beatings. I'm 100% in favor of all that when it comes to scummy prisoners.
Well, I'm not trying to beat anybody, but like you said,
I don't want to do it personally. Yeah, but if it happened, I'm not gonna lose any sleep. And you just said it. You live by your own choices, right? They made their choices. Mm-hmm. If they're unhappy with the choices they made, do your time, get out of jail, and try not to do them again. That's really the key.
I agree with. I definitely agree with that part.
I mean, I could write you bet, Linda. Thanks for calling WPHT. I appreciate it. I could write a freaking book on this, right? Life is not complicated. It's people that make it complicated. It is human beings that screw everything up. Everything up. So if you don't want to live in the place, don't break the laws. It's real simple. They're written down. If you are unsure, if you're sitting in your house right now thinking, I sure would like to murder someone, I'm feeling really, murdery today. I wonder, can I get away with, are there some people I can and maybe can't? And you just go on the internet. I'm sure the things are posted. And you'll be able to find right there that, no, I can't murder. And if at that point you make the decisions, no, I really want to do it. I got a hankering. And then you decide to go do that, you're kind of responsible for your actions. And once you get in there, I think the worst thing we could do, and we should always think of, by the way, the worst thing, I had moved on for the record, but people called. I think the worst thing you can do to prisoners, and we should always do the worst thing we can do to prisoners within reason, force them to live in the extreme heat without air conditioning, force them to live in the cold. They can bundle up. They get a blanket, right? They have a blanket, something like that. And when the extreme cold comes, they have to bundle up, and that's fine. And then force them. And by this might be a little bit too inhumane. And I realize this because I tried to do it yesterday, and it was probably the worst experience of my life. But force them to sit in chairs, maybe shackle them at that point. I'm willing to kick around the ideas, but make them watch soccer. Make them sit in a chair against their will. I would even be willing to take months off of their prison sentence just based on how much soccer they watch. That's how inhumane I think watching soccer is. I know it's a big deal. I know it's FIFA. I know it's in the news all over the place. But my God, that has got to be the most painful, boring thing I have ever done in my life. I thought maybe I got it wrong. The only Olympic event that I've ever been to, I was a little kid, and I was living in Los Angeles during the 1984 Olympics, and my dad happened to score tickets, and we just wanted to see an Olympic event, right? Somebody gave him tickets, and we went to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, and we watched a soccer game. That was in 1984. It is still going on right now as we speak. Costa Rica versus Italy in the Rose Bowl and the 1984 Olympics is still going on. And if I'm not mistaken, it's still tied 0-0. And I remember wanting to leave early because it was so boring. And finally, the game never ended. We'd been there 2 weeks and ran out of food. And my dad finally said, we can go, we can leave. We're not putting through this. And I think we had to sneak out, too, because I think there were guards trying to keep us in there to keep watching the soccer. So I think that's what we should do to prisoners. No air conditioning. Absolutely, positively, 100%. And they have to be shackled to chairs and forced to watch all this FIFA stuff. FIFA? I don't even care. That's how little I care about this nonsense. I don't even care. All right, when we come back, speaking of extreme heat, we're going to talk to you about something a dad did and whether or not he should be charged. You can probably figure it out. My name is Casey Bartholomew. It is 3:57. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
See website for details. BillsHappen.com is not a lender. It does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
Honey, everything is so expensive, and our bills are piling up.
You're telling me credit cards are maxed out, rent is due, and the car payment's right around the corner? We need some extra cash.
We should do what my friend from work did. She went to BillsHappen.com and got the money she needed the next day.
Our credit is not great. Are you sure that would work for us?
BillsHappen.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with all credit types get up to $5,000.
Sounds like it's going to be a hassle.
My friend said it was super easy. She did it right from her phone during her lunch break.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan for up to $5,000, and your cash can hit your bank account the next day. BillsHappen.com's lenders have millions of dollars to lend, regardless of your credit history.
Guess what? I went to BillsHappen.com, and we're getting our money tomorrow.
Wow, that's fast. Problem solved.
If you need extra cash, go to BillsHappen.com. That's BillsHappen.com. BillsHappen.com.
Hey, this is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Listen, I know sometimes you worry about coming to see me because you don't want to invest in real estate, because you don't want to deal with toilets, trash, or tenants. I'm going to teach you a way that you don't have to deal with toilets, trash, or tenants, or even own any real estate and invest in real estate at the same time. You want to learn this, so go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com and take a complimentary class this Thursday, and I promise you, no toilets, no trash, no tenants.
If not me,
then who? This ethos is driving the Travis Manion Foundation to empower veterans and families of fallen heroes to develop character in future generations. In 2007, Marine First Lieutenant Travis Manion was killed in Iraq while saving his wounded teammates. Travis's legacy lives on in the 5 words he spoke before leaving for his final deployment. If not me, then who? Guided by this mantra, veterans are continuing their service, developing strong relationships within their own community, and thriving in their post-military lives. Visit travismanion.org.
I'm Shanola Hampton. Every day, millions of people face hunger. Today, I will share with you some of their experiences. I'm stuck between paying for medications or paying for food. John from Maine. After paying my bills, I can buy groceries. It's sad to say, food comes last. Alice from Oregon. I thought pantries were for less fortunate people, but anybody could be less fortunate in a day or even a second. Claire from Virginia. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. No one should have to worry where their next meal will come from. Together, we can end hunger. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In North Dakota, President Trump toured the new Teddy Roosevelt Presidential Library in Medora near the Badlands. The president delivered remarks at the opening ceremony and took credit for signing the bill during his first term for the project that included transferring 90 acres of federal land for the library.
And today, the artistry and scholarship, technical skill on display right here and in that museum in particular is just fantastic. It's really great.
New details following the release of President Trump's financial disclosure forms to the Office of Government Ethics. The president's personal wealth increased last year by more than $2 billion. Earlier, he told reporters there was no conflict of interest. Police in Ohio say 4 family members are facing charges, including child endangerment, after the discovery of 16 children living in deplorable conditions. Vinton County Sheriff Ryan Kane outlined some of those conditions.
Most of our livestock was kept in better conditions than the children. It was extremely high presence, I'm sure, of bacterial and human feces. It was just a disgusting scene.
The children now in protective custody. A stunt at the Empire State Building today, beginning with a couple scaling the Empire Spire, where they flew a banner before climbing down where a proposal took place on a platform. It ended with the man and woman taken into custody. ABC News contributor and former NYPD Chief of Detectives Robert Boyce says the skilled daredevils didn't use harnesses or ropes and also breached security.
They didn't do any safety equipment, which puts it in a different perspective. It's reckless endangerment, felony. Because if they had fallen, they would have killed somebody else, could have killed somebody else on the way down from their own demise. So there's an issue right there, as well as criminal trespass and other ancillary charges that can go from there.
The breach comes as the NYPD is ramping up patrols and security ahead of the 4th holiday. You're listening to ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month with Window Nation at 50% off all window styles. Yes, 50% off new, beautiful, energy-efficient windows, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 2 years. Call now, 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
Ever wonder why you have insurance for your car or home, but not your digital life? Meet WebRoot Total Protection, your digital bodyguard that includes antivirus, identity protection, VPN, cloud backup, and more. With plans for individuals and families, WebRoot takes the guessing game out of cybersecurity so you can get back to living your best life online. Go to webroot.com/protect and get 60% off today. That's webroot.com/protect to get 60% off today. Live a better digital life with WebRoot because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
It's been 1 week since Venezuela's devastating earthquakes. More than 2,000 people now confirmed dead. Officials, though, expect the death toll will rise. Crews continuing to dig and pulled a 3-year-old from the rubble after 6 days. ABC's James Longman is in Venezuela and spoke with Sean Butler, a rescue squad officer with the USA-2 out of L.A. County.
We believe there's somebody alive right now. When we use our listening devices, we can hear tapping on the concrete when we call to them.
So you really feel people are holding on, they're making it through? There are more survivors to be found?
Yes, absolutely. The way these buildings have collapsed, they've created a lot of void spaces that allow people to survive for a long time.
In California, a bill to prevent sex offenders from running for office in the state has now been put on hold.
California Assembly Bill 2753 would have prohibited anyone who is or has been required to register as a sex offender from running for local elected office. It was introduced by Assemblywoman Esmeralda Soria.
This issue is critical. We have heard loud and clear from the community that we must do something.
The bill had seen wide support among lawmakers and passed the state assembly back in April, but this week it was put on hold in a California Senate committee, with members saying the bill was too broad and should only have applied to the most serious sex offenders. For now, registered sex offenders in California can run for office. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
On Wall Street today, stocks ending down. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month with Window Nation at 50% off all window styles. Yes, 50% off new, beautiful, energy-efficient windows, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 2 years. Call now, 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
Hi, I'm Judith Light. So there you are. It's flu season, and you're over 65 like me. You're having another busy year. So much to do, so many roles in life to play. But you feel like you might be forgetting something serious. Your annual flu shot. And before you know it, it's too late. It's not just the aches, fever, and chills that last for days and days. The flu can be life-threatening, especially if you have chronic conditions like diabetes and heart disease, which can worsen with the flu. Being active and healthy alone won't protect you. The immune system weakens with age, making you more susceptible to the flu. If you're over 65, ask about your vaccine options, including one made specifically for us. An annual flu shot is the best way to help keep the flu away. Visit the National Council on Aging at ncoa.org/flu to learn more and talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccine options for people 65 and older. Again, that's ncoa.org/flu.
WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
406 Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Casey Bartholomew. I'll be with you until 7 o'clock. Stick around after 7. That will be when Fox Across America with Jimmy Fallon comes on. The number here, 855-839-1210. That's 855-839-1210. We were talking about the heat with prisoners. Now we're going to talk about the heat with somebody who should be a prisoner. A Florida toddler. Ever been to Florida? It's a tad warm. Lived there a couple of times. Lots of humidity, lots of extreme heat. You're supposed to, as a parent, whether you're living in Florida or not, you're expected to pull your head out of your collective assets. That's the way it goes. Those are the rules. I didn't write them. I just follow them. But in this case, a Florida toddler was found dead after his father stupidly thought that he had dropped his son off at daycare. I have dropped both of my children off at daycare. I never once forgot. Not a single time. I don't think that makes me better than anybody. But somehow, but by the grace of God, I managed to drop my kids off at the daycare every single time I was supposed to. Now, granted, my wife had to remind me, but it didn't matter how. I did it. And after forgetting to drop his kid off at the daycare, was supposed to do something. I'm sure of it. There's a reminder in my phone. But only to make the horrifying discovery hours later that he had left the toddler inside the sweltering car. Toddler's dead. First responders were called to the Early Childhood Education Center, a World of Discovery Academy in Plantation, Florida, which is outside of Fort Lauderdale. At about 5 p.m., after receiving a report of a deceased child in a vehicle. That's what Plantation police said. Upon arrival, the fire department sadly confirmed that the child was deceased. Leslie Novoa, the academy's director and owner, said that the victim was an 18-month-old boy who attended the bilingual early education center. Novoa said the boy's father was supposed to drop him off at the school that morning, but forgot that his son was still in the car when he went to work. This is the messed up part, man. This shows how epically stupid this father was. When the father returned in the afternoon to pick up his son, you see what happened? When he returned in the afternoon to pick up his son, he realized that the child had never been dropped off. The academy director said she opened the back door of the father's car and found the boy in the back seat, which prompted her to call 911 immediately. Kid was 18 months old. So dummy was supposed to drop his son off. Didn't. Went to work, worked all morning, went back out to his car, drove to the daycare center to pick the kid up, to only discover the kid was there. Kid was in the back seat the whole time. So even when dad was driving from work back to the daycare center, his dead son was in the back seat. There should be a special level of hell for morons like this. You know, the things that bother me more than anything else, I've lived all over the country. I've lived in Florida. I was in Arizona for a while. And they used to air commercials and public service announcements because it became a big thing for a while. I don't know if it was new or if it was just getting talked about more, right? I don't know if people were getting stupider. Probably. It's the way it tends to happen. But I don't know if people were getting stupider or it just was getting reported more. They started reminding people, hey, here's an idea. Put your shoe in the back seat. Or your cell phone in the back seat. Something like that in the back seat. Because you won't remember the human life that you helped create in the back seat of the car. But I really like those shoes. So I think that if I put my shoe back there, I'll remember, wow, I need my shoe. Oh, God, my son. I forgot my son was back there. Let me get my shoe on. Do we have to tell people to, okay. And then unhook the child before you put the shoe on. Because if you're that dense, if you're that epically stupid, and you forget that you forget your child, but so you have to put your shoe in the back seat, in the time that it would take you to put your shoe on and then get ready to go off and do what you were going to do, you might still, again, forget that there's a child in the back seat. Unbe-freaking-leavable that this happens. Now, the academy director, like I said, she was the one who found the kid, opened the back door. And she had to go out and open the back door. Not the father. Kid was never dropped off? Wait a minute. That's what I was supposed to do. It was the academy director had to go out and open the door. Now, the academy director, Novoa, said, this is a tragedy that happened to them and to all of us. No, it happened to the boy. It didn't happen to them. It certainly didn't happen to the academy. It happened to the 18-month-old who dad cooked. Who dad left in the back seat and cooked and killed. Because that's what happened. This is the part This is the part that always bugs me. And I want to talk to you about it. Because I want to know if you think that charges should be filed against the dad. Because there is an argument. It's not one that makes sense to me. But there is an argument for why they shouldn't be, right? Or that's what they want there to be. Why they shouldn't file charges. But I want to know if you think the dad should be charged with this kid's death. 855-839-1210 is the number here. Now, the Plantation Police Department said it has opened a death investigation. That sounds weird. We know the kid's dead. Get put an investigation for that? Don't we know? It's a thing. We know. There's a body. But either way. And they have to decide whether or not they're going to hold Daddy responsible. Because he's responsible for the kid's death, right? This should infuriate any parent out there. And yes, I absolutely believe that dad should be charged, I don't know, second-degree murder? Something like that. This idiot should be thrown in a cage. The biggest cage we can find with the most bars that we can put on it. He killed his own child. The accident, fine, manslaughter, whatever. Something that gets this idiot locked up. And again, yes, I don't think this makes me better than anybody. But yes, I have never left my children in the car, in the heat, ever, not once, not a single time. When they were little. If I did it now, they would just get out. One of them's bigger than me. So if I did it and he got out, I would have a problem because he's like 6'4", I'm 5'10". But either way, that's aside. But this guy killed his kid. Now the argument that they're trying to float right now, oh my goodness, he killed his own child. He suffered enough. This poor family, he has to live the rest of his life knowing that he killed his own child. Hasn't he gone through enough? No. No, in fact, he should do more. He should have to go through more. He should have to live in a cage with pictures for years, by the way, with pictures of the child that he killed up on the wall. Maybe a video loop. Something that would drive him insane. Something that maybe we could get like an audio that, Daddy, why did you... AI is a wonderful thing. We should go ahead and do that because this guy, I have no respect. I have no sympathy. I do not care about this guy. I care about the kid. You don't get to pick your parents. Because I think if the dead kid could pick their parents, they wouldn't pick the idiot that left him in the back seat. I think. But that's the argument against that, right? We're supposed to sit here and instead of thinking about the 18-month-old who was cooked, who Daddy cooked in the back seat, we're supposed to think about the family and the dad and how bad he must feel. Is that the barometer, by the way? I know we talked about prisons last hour a little bit, but is that the barometer, by the way? How bad do you... Okay, we were going to sentence you to be to 25 years in jail. How bad do you feel? You feel really bad? Okay, 15. I didn't know you felt bad. I didn't realize that was the barometer by which we jailed people. I didn't realize that. I honestly didn't know that that was how that was going to happen. But apparently it is. Now, the temperatures, by the way, the argument for putting him in jail, as the argument for keeping him out of jail is that he's now going to have to live with the guilt, blah, 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 Crimea River for the rest of his life. I don't know. I'm not going to lose any sleep. But the argument for putting him in jail is that, and this, you might want to write this one down. It's fairly detailed. He killed someone. He killed his child and deserves to be locked in a cage for it. Lots of bars. Like all the bars, like sharp bars too, so he cuts himself if he touches them. Now, temperatures in Plantation reached a high of 94 degrees, with the afternoon heat index sweltering to 102 degrees, which means it was probably 1 billion degrees inside the car where the dad left the baby. Something along those lines, I'm sure. The tragedy marks the third hot car-related death in Florida. This whole thing took place in Florida. In Florida, involving a child in 2026. Well, who else would it involve? I mean, I guess if there is a mentally disabled person or an extremely incapable senior citizen or something like that. But it's like, I'm not going to be in a car and sit there and go, man, it's really hot. Man, I'm going to get out. So it more than likely would involve kids. A 3-year-old boy died after being unknowingly left in a hot car. Unknowingly? Did you think he was going to get out himself? Anyway, that happened in Hillsborough County, which is in Florida. He was unknowingly left there by his father on June 20th, also a hot day. Father told deputies that he found his 3-year-old unresponsive in a vehicle parked outside the home, where he left him. The case remains under investigation. Why do we take that? That would happen on June 20th? What is it? July 1st? 11 days ago? Gee, I don't know. Is that a crime, Earl? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. Let's go out to dinner again and see. I mean, what do we do? Why is this taking so long? I am willing to answer these questions. I'm willing to make the tough call. I should be the minister of punishment for the world. And everybody just call me and say, should we lock this guy up? And I'll just say, yeah. Email me, call me. I'll work a 9-hour shift with lunch. I'll work through lunch too if I have to, because people are so stupid. And if you damage a child, especially your own child, because you're so stupid, you deserve to be punished. I don't care if you're sad. You can be sad in the cage. That's the way it goes. About 2 weeks earlier, so what would this have been, like July 6th? Yeah, no, I'm sorry, June 6th. About 2 weeks earlier, Scott Allen Gardner locked his 18-month-old son, Sebastian, inside his truck when he freshened up his do and stopped at Hanky Panky's Lounge in Ormond Beach, Florida. So he fixed his hair and then went into, is Hanky Panky's a strip club? Hanky Panky sounds like a strip club, all right? I don't know, but it sounds like a strip club. So he freshened up his do and went into Hanky Strip Club while his 18-month-old was in the car on June 6th. Toddler was left alone inside the blistering vehicle for more than 3 hours. That do must have needed a lot of freshening up. Or he was looking at strippers for an extended period of time. Either way, the father allegedly gave police multiple false accounts of what happened. This is why we lock these idiots up. I'm sure moms do it too. Why is it always dads? You give us a bad name. That's another thing. I'm mad about that. You make you wonder whether or not I'm going to be able to, any man is going to be able to handle anything. Since 1990, more than 1,100 children have died in hot cars in the United States, with 88% of the deaths nationwide being children 3 years or younger because they can't get out of the car. How many of them were dads? How many of them were, they see, again, it gives us a bad name. That's what makes me mad. So 88% were kids 3 years or younger. These are according to statistics that were provided by Kids and Car Safety Organization. Clearly, they did not leave their shoes in the back seat. That's what you're supposed to do. You're also supposed to put your cell phone in the back seat. Can you imagine anybody putting their cell phone in the back seat? And they're looking at their cell phone while they're driving. You all drive. They're looking at their cell phone while they're driving. So, of course, they're not, because they don't care about their kid in that regard either. So they're not going to put their cell phone in the back seat. So we're stuck with shoes. I can remember my shoe. I can't remember my child. The human life I created. On average, 40 children die each year from heat stroke inside a vehicle across the nation. At least another 7,500 kids have survived with varying degrees of injury. Again, probably mostly stupid parents. Stupid parents, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever they like. The organization warns that that cars will experience the greenhouse effect. I thought that was America's fault. When outside temperature exceeds 80 degrees, even with the windows cracked, temperature inside a car can reach 125 degrees in minutes, doing nothing to slow the deadly heating process. And now, having heard all that, and the multiple the guy who was freshening up his do. I mean, you got to freshen up your do, right? I normally wear a hat. I don't spend a whole lot of time on my do. Maybe I should. But either way, I also don't spend a whole lot of time looking at strippers. He had a lot going on. The others apparently just forgot, and they're investigating. I have a theory when it comes to this nonsense. I do wonder if there's a sympathy for the parent, right? if there's some sympathy for the parent out there to where they're going, oh, God, this guy's going to live with the idea. Like I was saying, that's the only argument that they really have. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't agree with it. But the argument is that, we're going to, the poor guy is going to suffer. And, so hopefully if we just investigate and we just leave it alone, don't say anything else about it for a little while, we can back away from this. I'm wondering if that's the idea. If that's the mindset. Maybe the cops are trying to be, for lack of a better way to put it, sympathetic, I guess, in that regard. But I have no sympathy for the moron who forgets his kid. How do you forget your kid? I don't even know how it happens. I've never left my kid in the car for any length of time. None. I've lived in some hot places. Southern California, Arizona, Florida, Texas. Never left the kids in the car. Never even occurred to me to leave the kids in the car. There was one time where I had to take my wife to the emergency room. She has benign positional vertigo. She got dizzy. That's really what it is. She likes to sell it, but all she did was get dizzy. Anyway, so I had to take her to the emergency room. My daughter was a baby. We had to go get food. So because I had stuff for the kid and everything for the adults. So I put her in the car, drove down to the ATM because this was before fast food restaurants would take a debit card. This was really before debit cards. So I drove up and I was literally in the spot right outside of where the ATM was. I would not have been 10 feet away from my daughter. And I sat there and I turned off the car. I pulled my daughter out, carried her up to the ATM, got cash, took her back to the car, put her in the car, pulled away and went and got food. I didn't even leave her in the car for what would have amounted to probably 3 minutes. Because I always believe those PSAs. How long does it take for a thief to steal your car? And apparently not very long. And I wouldn't have been able to live with myself if I had to watch somebody take my kid away. But people do this all the time. You make your choices. This idiot made his choice. This idiot decided that he was going to leave his kid in the car, claiming he forgot, whatever. I don't buy that. You forgot. That's epically stupid, and I have no sympathy for you. It is your job. It is your responsibility. I forgot that murder was illegal. Oh, well, okay, we'll just let you go then. Here, I'm going to give you this card. This card reminds you that murder is illegal. So why don't you take that, put it in your wallet so you always have it with you and you'll see that. No, that's not how that works. You don't get to forget. You're a parent. You're the dad. You're the mom. You don't get to forget that the child is in the back of the car. You don't get to forget to drop them off at daycare. You don't get to forget those things. And if you do, like I said, I wouldn't first degree murder, premeditated. I mean, unless there's evidence. If there's evidence, yeah. There was a story a few years ago. Where was it? Georgia? There's a Georgia story where, I may have, I'm doing this all from memory, so I could be wrong about this, parts about this, but you can look it up on the interwebs. But this guy was working at, I think, Home Depot and drove his kid, didn't drop the kid off, drove to work at Home Depot in the blistering heat, at one point even went back out to his car, which I believe they think was to check to make sure if the kid was dead, and then went back in and then drove to the daycare or did something they caught him or something like that. And then they determined that there were, Google searches that they find. When they look at your computer, you may think you deleted the search, but it's still there. Trust me. So any of those inappropriate websites you're looking at, just make sure nobody gets their hands on your computer. That's all I'm going to say. Either way, they can find that stuff on there, and that case was there. So if that's the situation here, yeah, first degree, you die too. I'm done with you. I don't really care. But even if you leave them there, I could go second degree. I could go manslaughter. I could go something. I could go something that gets this idiot locked up and certainly taken away from his kids. I don't know if sterilization is on the table, but I would definitely have him stand up, open a microwave, and turn it on full blast right around his genitalia to make sure that he couldn't have any more kids. Because I don't want others of him out there, and I don't even know who the guy is. They didn't give his name. I don't want others of his ilk out there, and I don't want him to be able to reproduce to kill other children. We've got to draw the line somewhere. But they're investigating the other case. where the father found his 3-year-old unresponsive in a parked vehicle outside his home for hours and hours. Cops, everything remains under investigation. And again, I have a theory that they're playing the game where it's like, well, maybe he's, he'll feel bad. And again, that's what the argument for not charging this guy with a crime is that he is now going to have to live for the rest of his life with the idea that he killed his child. Good. I hope it hurts. I hope it's haunted. I hope he goes insane. And I hope he does it in a cage, because I'm not thinking about the dad and his grief or the family or anything like that. I'm thinking about the 18-month-old that he cooked. The 18-month-old that was supposed to be able to trust dad not to kill him, and then dad went ahead and killed him. Dad went ahead and left him in the car. And again, the biggest insult to me as a parent is that there are places out there who will tell you openly on public service announcements to leave your shoe in the car. That way you'll remember that your child, you won't remember your child's back there. You'll remember your shoe is back there. And so when you go to get your shoe, then you'll see the kid. That's insulting to me as a parent. But I want to know if you think the dad should be charged with the kid's death, because that's what they're trying to figure out. And I don't even know why it's an investigation. I don't even know why it's a question. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. My name is Casey Bartholomew. It is 429. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
My obstructive hypertrophic cardiomyopathy kept me from baseball games with my boys. The stairs were too much. With Camzyos, my symptoms have improved and I can be more active again. Camzyos is a cardiac myosin inhibitor, the first in its class to treat adults with symptomatic OHCM. Camzyos may improve your symptoms and ability to be active, and it reduced obstruction in the heart 4 times more.
In a 30-week study, Camzyos, mavacamten, reduced post-exercise obstruction on average 47 units of pressure versus 10 with placebo. Results may vary. Camzyos may cause serious side effects, including heart failure that can lead to death, a risk that's increased with serious infection, irregular heartbeat, or with certain other medicines. Do not stop, start, or change medicines or dose without telling your doctor. You must have echocardiograms before and during treatment. Seek help for new or worsening heart failure symptoms. Camzyos is only available through a restricted program. Before taking, tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and current or planned pregnancy, as Camzyos may harm your unborn baby.
Visit Camzyos.com or call 1-855-CAMZYOS. Actor Portrayal.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Ethos.
AI agents are becoming a popular choice for travel plans. Adobe reports that traffic from AI sources to travel-related websites soared 194% in May year over year, with hotels, rental cars, cruise lines, and airlines seeing increasing interactions with ChatGPT and Claude. Other retail categories seeing strong AI agent traffic include cosmetics and electronics. I'm Jason Brooks.
If you own a small business, the pressure never lets up. Something's always coming at you. That's why business owners turn to LendSeek for funding.
I don't need promises. I need options. LendSeek's AI platform showed me real funding choices. Now I can cover payroll, handle taxes, and go after growth opportunities without the daily stress.
Up to $5 million with funding in as fast as 24 hours. No upfront costs. No prepayment penalties. Start ready, stay ready. LendSeek.com. LendSeek.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Tune in to the Crash Proof Retirement Show Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Joanne Small-Canella and Tracy Stillman. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Now back to the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
This is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
.434 Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Casey Bartholomew. I'll be with you until 7. Stick around after 7. That's when Fox Across America with Jimmy Fela comes on. 855-839-1210. It's 855-839-1210. Do you think $25 an hour should be the minimum wage? Senator Chris Murphy was on Sunday, was on Meet the Press. He touted his minimum wage bill that aims to gradually increase worker pay from $7.25 an hour to $25 hourly because he doesn't understand how economics works. I tell you, these idiots who are always pushing for these ridiculously high minimum wage jobs. $25 an hour to shovel French fries into a box. No offense to you if you do that. That's you do what you got to do to pay the bills, but that is not a $25 an hour job. What would it be? That'd be that'd be a $50,000 a year job, wouldn't it? Yeah. $25 an hour full time, that'd be $50,000 a year to shovel French fries. Those are jobs that teenagers used to be able to do. Now people don't want to try to better themselves at all, so they don't try to do it. But anyway, he was on one of the Sunday morning shows. He's on Meet the Press, the doofus Murphy was. Let's go ahead and play the cut. I think that's where it's from.
Okay, let's zero in on that topic that you raised earlier, and that is your new bill to raise the minimum wage. You are calling for a minimum wage of $25 an hour. It has not been raised nationally since above $7.25 an hour since 2009. The most recent analysis from the Congressional Budget Office said that even a $17 per hour raise would result in massive job cuts. Would your bill actually do more harm than good?
No, it wouldn't. And there's plenty of economic analysis to show that if you gradually raise the minimum wage to $25 an hour, you're going to create more jobs than you're going to lose. And my bill doesn't do it automatically. But this is actually a unifying issue. And so when I talk about how you bring Republicans who voted for Trump over to the Democratic side, an aggressive increase in the minimum wage is part of the answer.
So he's just trying to get votes. That's all it is. So he doesn't say it this way, but he admits that all he's trying to do is beg for votes in this way. So yeah, I don't even understand that logic. Every time this has popped up, what have we seen happen? By the way, I wonder if Senator Doofus Chris Murphy has ever heard of AI. any of those jobs that could be done, that could be replaced by robots, artificial intelligence, kiosks, anything like that. Do you think they're going to pay some lazy person who doesn't, and not all of them are lazy, by the way, but some lazy person who doesn't want to work and, won't want to come in when scheduled, gets sick, wants vacation time, all that kind of stuff? Do you think you're going to get those people more jobs? Do you think they're going to hire more of those people? Or do you think they're going to put a kiosk in? Because, the big job everybody thinks about when you're talking about minimum wage is fast food, right? It's all these fast food boneheads. How much do you think a 6-piece chicken nugget's going to cost if the employee is making $25 an hour? I love the mindset. Well, we'll just pay everybody more money and everything will cost the same amount of money that it costs today. That's what'll happen. You know what'll happen? Is that there will be no full-time employees anywhere. They'll hire a lot of different employees to work part-time, so they won't have to pay, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a year to any one individual. They'll instead break it up and probably hire 3 individuals and get 3 employees instead of 1. And the employees that are working the counters, there's a Taco Bell near my house. I go in there. And by the way, I prefer to do this. And the reason I prefer to do it is because I never punch in my order wrong. The humans do, because they're not paying any attention. But I prefer to go to the kiosk, type in my order, and pay with my debit card or zap it with my phone, and just be done with it. That's what's going to happen. And the idiot admits, we're a very closely divided country right now, right? It's basically 50-50, as much as people don't like to admit it. It is. And that's basically where we are. And so this guy Murphy admits that he's just trying to steal votes. He's just trying to, if we really need a $25 minimum wage, and by the way, it does slowly roll out. The way they want to do it, he introduced the bill. It's called the Living Wage for All Act, which would implement a $25 federal wage floor by 2032, while giving other businesses until 2039 to do so. So the federal wage floor, the money that all of us pay, would be $25 an hour, which means, again, I think that's $50,000 full-time. I'm not good at math. Would be $50,000 full-time for everybody. That would be implemented within 6 years, 5.5 years. By 2032, I guess, given when it's, if it's passed and signed, it'll never get passed and signed, but given when it's passed and signed. So we will all have to pay that through a government that already can't afford to pay its bills. We would all have to pay that. And then by 2039, McDonald's would have to have $25 an hour employees there. Do they not, again, know how math works? Do they not know how economics works? I was not an economics major in college. I was not kidding earlier. I minored in history. I majored in radio. Good long-term thinking there, by the way. Anyway, but I majored in radio. So, but even I understand that if you're going to pay people more than 3 times as much money as you're paying them right now, what do you think is going to happen to costs? What do you think is going to happen? Biden used to have a big thing. He would get to do that really creepy old man thing that he did. It's like a pedophile, where he'd go, pay them more money. And he would whisper everything. And I think they got him out of that because it's creepy as hell. But they just think, just pay them more money. Oh, pay them more money. Yeah, just pay them more money. They don't seem to understand that the cost of everything goes up. They don't just pay you more money. The cost of everything goes up. That's the way that works. This is not complicated, as evidenced by the fact that I figured it out. Me, Casey, the fill-in talk show host. I figured it out. Let's go to Frank in South Philly. Frank, you're on WPHT with Casey. Go ahead.
Hey, Case. Hey. Thank you for taking me on, Case. I like to explain that I'm going to give you 2 examples that happened to 2 different banks that I bank with.
Okay.
They wanted to remodel for $300,000 the one room that was 6 tellers in there at one time. They replaced it. They replaced it with the automatic machines that they have, high tech or whatever you want to call them.
Sure. Yeah.
And now, 6 tellers. Now there's only 2. So they
well, yeah, I mean, think about what happens now. You only need 2 tellers there, right? If those tellers have to make, $50,000 a year to be tellers, and again, no offense to anybody, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying. Then, I mean, just the other day, yesterday, in fact, my wife and I, my wife, I didn't do it, deposited a check on her phone. You take a picture of the front of the check, you take a picture of the back of the check, you deposit it, and then you're done. We didn't even have to go to the bank to do it. And with direct deposit and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's like they seem to think that we still live in the 1940s where everybody has to go into work and everybody, takes pride in their work and everybody just doing the job and everybody's trying to work their way up. But that's not the way it is anymore. The way it is now is that if you start begging for too much money for low-skilled labor, and that is what it is, then you are going to end up without a job because they're going to find a machine that can do it. ATMs, as far as the bank goes, ATMs exist.
Right now, the other bank had 6 tellers, 8 tellers every given day. They put 4 machines in there, and now there's only 2 tellers there. Is my other bank. Now here's what I'm going to say. I also was a member before I retired. I was a member of 3 different unions. And here's what happens. Here's what happens here. That if they come with AI and all them high tech machines and whatever, and I also used to work for UPS, one of the companies I used to work for, and they put in 40 different operations with the scanning packages and stuff like that. It eliminated a lot of jobs on that. So the full time became part time and eliminated a lot of jobs there. So here's what I'm going to say to all union members that are in unions today, because I'm retired, that if they replace all this manpower, no matter what field you're in, whether if it's a longshoreman, I also worked as a longshoreman, or UPS or any one of those big companies. If they turn around, if they will put AIs in there and try to eliminate jobs, this is what has to happen. The union presidents and the union members have to demand at least 5 years of half of their salary in order to turn around, either go to another company, another job, or so on.
I don't know if that'll work
from the company.
Yeah. They can demand it, but if they don't get it, then what?
No, they will get it.
They might not. For PR reasons, they might get it. But at the end of the day, so you say you get 5 years, then 5 years later, you still don't have a job.
Yeah, but they will get it. You know why? Because in their next contract, whatever that next contract might be, every 5 years, usually there's a contract, and that comes up, the new contract, they would have to put that in the new contract.
And all unions are going to. All unions are going to try to do that. And, one of the, I remember like 15 years ago where there was the Fight for 15. There were rallies all over the place. And the service union was like busing people and flying people all over the country to make it feel like people really supported that when they really did it. But one of the caveats of that was that, you get $15 an hour, but you have to also be allowed to unionize. And people don't realize that if you make $15 an hour, now you got to pay union dues. And now you don't have a full-time job. You got $15 an hour, but you're only working 15 hours a week. So you got to go to 2, part-time jobs. And that's the way it goes. And that's what's going to happen here. And the cost of everything is going to go up.
One other thing I like to point out, Case, most union leaders or members always look at to turn around and get an increase in their pay. That increase in pay, it only lasts for the contract that you signed for. Mm-hmm. They should turn around and really look at what their pension and when they get older, rather than and looking at, let's say, I didn't get a raise for 10 years, 25-cent raise for 10 years in one company, and I'll give you the company's name. I'm not because I'm retired. I ain't worried about it. The company down here in Delaware Avenue, I was working for a longshoreman, local 802. It was a local union. 10 years without a quarter raise, and then when they finally fired me, they called me back the second week, and I told them, and it wasn't happy birthday that I told them.
Okay. Very good, Frank. All right, thanks for calling WPHT. I appreciate it.
You got it, Casey.
Have a good one, man. That's, there's so much more that goes into this. The politicians, especially, again, Murphy admits that this is just an election ploy. This is just an attempt to buy votes. That's all it is. He, like I said, comes right out and all but admits it. And they don't look at the bigger picture. They convince people who don't really understand and get excited by the idea that, hey, I make $7.25 an hour now. I can make $25 an hour at this job. And they don't read the fine print, and they don't realize that if, you may as well be making $7.25 an hour then, because the cost of everything is going to just completely zero out whatever raise you might get. That's not the way it works. And they play on stupid people, and unfortunately, stupid people fall for it all the time. I see them at the meetings, I know. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. We'll take more of your phone calls coming up. If you want a $25 an hour minimum wage, because that's what doofus Senator Chris Murphy is pushing without absolutely realizing or having any understanding of how reality or economics works. I'm Casey Bartholomew, 448. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-979-3535. That's 800-979-3535. 800-979-3535.
You don't need another opinion, just the facts.
What caused that crash on the Schuylkill? Will it rain before the kids' game? What happened at the school board meeting last night?
At KYW News Radio, we don't take sides. We take notes, delivering the information you need to make the best decisions for your family.
The news you need whenever you need it.
Depend on KYW News Radio, Philadelphia's most trusted news leader for more than 60 years.
Summer means vacations, road trips, and spending more time on the road with family and friends. Before your next adventure, make sure your vehicle is ready with United Tire's 4th of July sale. Through July 3rd, receive an instant $104 savings on any set of 4 tires, plus free road hazard coverage on trusted brands like Michelin, Goodyear, Continental, and more. It's one of the best tire deals of the summer and a great way to help keep your family safe on the road. Visit your local United Tire today. Don't drive alone, drive United. The summer heat means it's that time of year to crank up the AC again. To keep your home cooling more efficiently and help save you on high energy bills, better go Guida and finally replace your old drafty, inefficient windows and doors at Guida Door and Window. Right now, Guida is offering their best discounts of the year with their big 40% off summer sales event on all expertly installed windows and doors. You'll receive 40% off each window you buy. That's right, 40% off all high-performance, energy-efficient triple pane windows. And you'll receive 40% off any door, including insulated entry doors, patio doors, garage doors, and storm doors. Plus, get your project started today with no money down and pay it off interest-free for up to 18 full months. All prior sales excluded. Minimum purchase required. Don't let these big discounts pass you by. Go Guida today to take advantage of these limited time savings by calling to schedule a free in-home estimate at 1-877-GO-GUIDA or visit them at GoGuida.com. That's go, GUIDA.com.
I've always wanted to learn French, but the app I tried didn't help.
If you want to memorize words in another language, there's an app for that. But if you want to really learn another language, there's Babbel. Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different. Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Babbel feels like it was created intentionally by people who really know what you need to learn another language. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Want to really learn another language? Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com to save up to 50%. BABBEL.com.
Calling on Huntington Valley to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it today.
.453 Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Casey Bartholomew. I will be with you until 7 o'clock. Rich Zioli is out. So I'll be with you until 7 o'clock. Stick around after 7. That's when you get Fox Across America with Jimmy Fela. Give me a call. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. By the way, coming up after the news at 5, some new student loan rules went into effect today. And it probably means that grown adults who borrowed money, you might want to sit down for this because it might shock you. But grown adults who borrowed money are going to have to start paying back the money that they borrowed. So weird and so unfair when Joe Biden tried to screw us all over by bit. But now they're going to have to start paying their money back. But either way, we'll get into all that kind of stuff. Right now, just real quick, I wanted to share this. You know, data centers are like the thing right now, right? Some people love them. Some people hate them. Most politicians don't really know what they do, and they lie about them. They lie. There's all the jobs. There aren't a lot of jobs created by data centers. And they're not very high-paying jobs. Not enough to sustain a community for a data center. But either way, they try to do that. Well, this was funny. Not funny. Well, maybe funny because I don't live there. But it was in Henrico County, Virginia. A teacher is being asked to shut down a computer at night so that the counties can shave a few bucks off its electric bill. Meanwhile, 37 data centers hum along across 2,700 acres of county land, each one drinking up power at a scale that makes your home energy use look like a nightlight. A demand surge accelerated by projects like the Stargate project. County manager John Vitholkas, I don't know, emailed thousands of employees, including school staff, with the news. Electricity rates jumped 25% on July 1st, adding about $5 million to annual costs. And his fix is to ask school teachers to turn the lights off. We'll let the data centers run and hum all night long and destroy property values and annoy communities. But the schools districts have to shut things down. They called it collectively, we need to make slight adjustments. Now, the email reads like a personal finance app notification applied to a municipal budget crisis. Employees are advised to. Now, again, this is with data centers just zipping along, causing all kinds of problems, and using up most of the electricity that they have. In fact, they give them tax breaks in order to screw people over. But the email from Vitholkas, conservation reads like the personal finance app, and employees are advised to turn off lights. Don't leave lights on. Turn them off. Which you should do anyway, but because of the data centers, everybody has to do it. You're supposed to adjust blinds so that the sunlight isn't coming directly in. The data centers don't have to do anything, but you have to adjust the blinds. You need to skip the space heater. Each one costs the county $150 to $300 per year in electricity, so don't use the space heaters. Do not plug in fans to keep your students cool. I'm saying the last part, he didn't say it. So they're actually screwing over teachers in the small communities because they can't afford the electricity, because the data centers get tax breaks and don't end up having to pay the same for their electricity that you have to. So there's another argument against the data centers, and it screws over kids. All right, student loans are going to be in the news when we come back. My name is Casey Bartholomew. It is 4:57. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This year, America celebrates 250 years, 2.5 centuries of courage, sacrifice, and family stories passed down from one generation to the next. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger, founders of Legacy Box. Your family's piece of the American story is sitting in an attic or closet right now, trapped on aging VHS tapes, camcorder tapes, film reels, and fading photos.
Those boxes hold moments you can never recreate. Your wedding day, your children's voices when they were little, grandparents coming back to life on screen.
Over 2 million families have trusted Legacy Box. And we've just partnered with the USO to digitize fragile handwritten letters from World War II, helping preserve American history for future generations.
As America turns 250, remember that your family is a part of the American story. Preserving those voices, faces, and moments is a part of your responsibility to the next generation. Don't let them disappear on your watch.
Visit legacybox.com/radio for our amazing America 250 sale. That's legacybox.com/radio to save.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767.
You know what I love? American-made products, baby. That's right. It's Rich Zioli. American-made products, and that's what you get from Emmons Roofing and Siding. Owens Corning shingles are made in New Jersey. Certainteed siding made right outside of Philly. Provia windows and doors handcrafted in Ohio. And because Emmons is platinum with Owens Corning, your roof comes with a lifetime workmanship warranty. That's accountability on American-made quality from an American company right in our backyard. EmmonsRoofing.com, EmmonsRoofing.com.
With the world's biggest soccer tournament here in Philadelphia, restaurants all over the Delaware Valley are preparing for generational games and generational crowds. We're welcoming visitors from all over the world. And if you're a restaurant owner, you know the next few weeks will be the most challenging and most rewarding of the year. So if you're worried that your point of sale won't stand up to the task, you need to talk to our friends at PDQ POS. Make sure your system is ready. Get a free demo at PDQPOS.com.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. New details following the release of President Trump's financial disclosure forms to the Office of Government Ethics. The president's personal wealth increased last year by more than $2 billion, more than triple the profits that he reported prior to returning to the White House for his second term. Here's ABC's Selena Wang.
The president's assets are held in a trust, but this is not a traditional hands-off blind trust. This is a trust controlled by President Trump's children. The scale of Trump's business ventures, his family's business ventures, it is unprecedented for an American president. And just for some comparison here, this financial disclosure for President Trump was 900 pages long. Compare that to President Biden's a year before he left office. That was just 11 pages long.
The president, when asked by reporters, says there was no conflict of interest. A horrifying discovery in Ohio. Police say 16 children living in deplorable conditions were removed from a home east of Cincinnati. Ohio Attorney General Andy Wilson says those children were reached just in time.
I think if they would have waited another 24 hours, there was a very high probability that we'd be dealing with a death or multiple deaths.
The children now in protective custody. Police say 4 family adult members were arraigned on charges including child endangerment. In New York City, a pair of daredevils scaled the Empire State Building all the way to the spire. The stunt ended with a proposal and both in custody. Here's ABC's Aaron Katursky.
They climbed down for about 250 feet. The NYPD officers were there waiting, took these 2 individuals into custody after they climbed to the very top of the Empire State Building spire, unfurled a banner, then climbed to a platform. One proposed to the other, and the 2 appeared to embrace in what is one illegal stunt.
Police say they're looking at criminal charges and believe the pair was profiled before in a documentary and have carried out similar stunts. You're listening to ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month with Window Nation at 50% off all window styles. Yes, 50% off new, beautiful, energy-efficient windows, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 2 years. Call now, 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
Ever wonder why you have insurance for your car or home, but not your digital life? Meet WebRoot Total Protection, your digital bodyguard that includes antivirus, identity protection, VPN, cloud backup, and more. With plans for individuals and families, WebRoot takes the guessing game out of cybersecurity so you can get back to living your best life online. Go to webroot.com/protect and get 60% off today. That's webroot.com/protect to get 60% off today. Live a better digital life with WebRoot because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
Extreme heat in the nation's midsection. Expanding to the East Coast, the dangerous heat index will reach the triple digits through the 4th of July. ABC meteorologist Samara Theodore has the forecast.
There's not much in the way of relief overnight, and that's what makes the situation so dangerous, so dire. We're waking up Friday morning to temperatures in the 80s in D.C., New York, and Boston. So by the afternoon, we're really heating things up. And this heat dome on the northern ridge is something we see when we see heat domes build. It's not necessarily uncommon, but be prepared for some severe storms. That means the threat for tornadoes, very large hail, 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts from Minneapolis to Michigan.
The frontman and songwriter who co-founded the Village People has died.
Born in Texas, raised in San Francisco, Victor Willis joined 5 other singers, each in a themed costume, to form the Village People in 1977. He was briefly married to Felicia Ayers Allen, who would later play Claire Huxtable on The Cosby Show. Willis struggled with drug addiction but completed rehab in 2007. Now the Village People Facebook page says he's died after a short illness. Today would have been Victor Willis's 75th birthday. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
1 week after the double earthquakes in Venezuela, search and rescue crews still finding survivors. Yesterday, teams pulling a 3-year-old trapped in the rubble out. The death toll now climbing to more than 2,200. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month with Window Nation at 50% off all window styles. Yes, 50% off new, beautiful, energy-efficient windows, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 2 years. Call now, 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
As a doctor, I see patients every day who are losing their vision and independence to age-related macular degeneration, also known as AMD. It's the leading cause of blindness in adults 55 and older. Some of us are at greater risk for AMD. If you have blurry vision or blind spots, they can be symptoms of AMD. If left untreated, it can lead to blindness. The good news, with early detection, AMD can be managed with effective clinically approved treatments that can reduce or even reverse some vision loss. Learning that you have AMD can be scary, but there's hope and help. The Foundation Fighting Blindness is researching and developing treatments and cures for AMD. To get your free AMD information packet, contact the Foundation Fighting Blindness today at 1-800-BLINDNESS. That's 1-800-BLINDNESS. Join the fight against AMD, because together there is a cure in sight.
WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. Now, The Drive at 5. 30 minutes of nonstop talk. From Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
5:06 Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Casey Bartholomew. I'll be with you until 7. Stick around after 7. That's when Fox Across America with Jimmy Fela comes on. 855-839-1210. It's 855-839-1210. Right now, it has always baffled me that grown adults ask for money, get the money, agree to pay the money back, and then are shocked, I tell you, that they have to pay this money back. It has always baffled me. Talking about student loans, of course, and that was a way old man Biden tried to get himself elected to a second term, was by basically stealing money from all of us and paying back the loans of legal adults who agreed to pay the money back. And I have no sympathy for any of you. My wife borrowed money to go to college. She has a master's degree. She is smarter than me. But she borrowed money to go to school to get her advanced degree. We borrowed the money. We did the weirdest thing, though. We paid it back. And we made a priority out of paying it back. We lived off my salary, and then all of her money went to paying off her bills, and I'll be damned if we didn't have that taken care of right away. The reason we did this wasn't because we felt like we were being abused in some way. We did it because my wife, who was 18 or over when she borrowed some of this money, signed a paper saying that she would pay it back. So the thought that we just, wouldn't never occurred to us. But for some reason, we live in a society where grown adults is like, I borrow money. I didn't have to pay the money back. Shut up. I want to stand at a college graduation. And when all these kids get their diplomas and they get the congratulations, they take the pictures and everything like that, all the joy and happy and the crowd cheers, and they walk off the stage, I want to smack them. Just to see how stupid they are. I'll just ask it, are you going to pay your student loans back? I shouldn't have to. Anyway, this all leads to the fact that a major shakeup to the federal student loan system affecting millions of idiots who don't think they should have to pay the money back is taking effect today. Now. It's happening now. If you borrowed money, you're going to have to pay it back. Oh, no. What? Yeah. The changes mean that some Americans, especially lower income borrowers, will face higher monthly payments on their student loans. Other borrowers will face new limits on loans. Roughly 43 million stupid Americans currently have student loan debt. Now, I should amend that. That was me being flip. Of the 43 million, the only ones who are stupid are the ones who think they shouldn't have to pay the loans back. You're the stupid ones. So just so you know, it's not all of you. Because my wife borrowed money. She's not stupid. She doesn't have good taste in men, but she's not stupid. Now, so 43 million Americans currently have student loan debt, totaling nearly $1.7 trillion with a T dollars. That is according to the Office of Federal Student Aid, a division of the Department of Education. $1.7 trillion. I would like to know, of the 43 million, what percentage think, I didn't have to pay that back? Because I want you to drive to the radio station and I want to smack you, like hard, in the face. Education Secretary Linda McMahon, whose mission is to shutter the department, has said the Trump administration will no longer tolerate American taxpayers taking on the debts that are not their own. I have 100% agreed with that from the moment dummy Biden started suggesting that people shouldn't have to pay it back, most of which was found unconstitutional, by the way. But even before Biden got in there, where people would whine, I can't pay my student loans back because and the reasoning is always dumb. The reasoning is always ridiculous. I want to buy a house. I want to get married. I want to start a family. I want to go on vacation. I want a new car. So all these things that they want, it's like nobody told them how math works. You borrow, you repay. Ta-da, it's easy. And there's also a dirty little secret about student loans that I found out when my wife started borrowing money, which, again, we paid back. We paid all of it back, every penny. But there's this dirty little secret that, you apply for student loans, you are approved for a certain amount of money. Whatever it is. I mean, just because, like I said, math is hard, I'll give you a simple example. You apply, you qualify for $10,000, but you only need $3,000. But because I don't want to work during school, I want to have the college experience, and I want to go to Cabo with my friends during spring break. So you take all $10,000 instead of the $3,000 that you needed so that you could live off of the rest. So after one semester, year, whatever, you should be $3,000 in debt, but you're $10,000 in debt because you took more money than you actually needed. And then when all is said, and this happens over time, and that's how people amass these massive amounts of student loan debt, by the way. It's some of it is the cost of education, but it's not all the cost of education. A lot of it is the cost of stupidity. Stupidity is very expensive. And student loan borrowers who take too much money because they don't want to get jobs, they want to have the college experience, and end up owing more money than they should have to owe, is very expensive. Stupidity costs more than people really realize. And that's what we're dealing with here in this situation. Now, one of the biggest changes is the end of a Biden-era repayment program called Saving on a Valuable Education, or SAVE. I always wonder. They have these ideas. How long does it take them to push the idea? Do they have to have an acronym before they push the idea? Or do they, because everything has to be, that's advertising, that's PR, right? There was probably some other name for it. It's like, that doesn't mean anything. So we're just going to call it SAVE, because we're saving you and you're saving money. So so you have to find a way to make that work. There are currently about 7 million borrowers enrolled in that program. Now they will have 90 days to switch to a new plan to pay back their student loan debt, because now they're going to have to pay back their student loan debt. I had read something the other day, and I don't see it here, but there are some people who haven't been paying still because of pandemic era things. I don't know how accurate that is, and I don't know how great of a number that is, but I'm sure those people are out there. And I'm sure the people who haven't been paying their student loans, I'm sure they've been taking that money and putting it away in order to have it when the bills started coming due. I'm sure they did the responsible thing because they knew that wasn't going to last forever, right? So I'm sure they took that money and they put it away. That I 100% believe that. I'm sure they didn't spend it on toys and candy and nonsense like that. Just going to throw that out there. But anyway, there will only be 2 repayment plans that new student loan borrowers can choose. The Repayment Assistance Plan, or RAP, or the Tiered Standard Repayment Plan, which doesn't have a cool acronym. So I don't know why they did it. The Education Department says that by phasing out all of the other plans, it will make the process smoother and simpler for borrowers to make their payments on time. But student loan advocates, why would you be a student loan advocate? Why would you ever say, yeah, sure, I'll do that? I'll speak up for people who don't want to pay their money back. Absolutely. Let me do that. Pick me. But anyway, student loan advocates warn monthly payments under RAP plan will be higher for borrowers. I guess they should have thought about that. I don't know. I mean, any of these people who don't want to pay their loans back, it's all too high, right? Anybody, like if you said, okay, you can pay $1 for 1,000 years, $1 a week for 1,000 years, and you pay it all back, that would be too. But I want to go to Disney World. Anyway, so they say it's going to be higher. The Institute for College Access and Success, TICUS, well, that's not a good one either, found that the median U.S. household could see student loan defaults spike and premiums increase by hundreds of dollars a month. Should have thought about that. Because I can be annoying about this, right? Because if they don't pay it back, I have to pay it back. You have to pay it back. We all have to pay it back. $1.7 trillion. It doesn't just go away. It doesn't just vanish. You were loaned the money. It's money's got to be paid back. So that's the idea that you shouldn't have to pay back your loans means that you think the rest of us should have to pay back their loans. Because you got your art history degree, and it's so worth it for the rest of us in society to have you there knowing about art history while you're working at the mall, that we should have to pay back your student loans. That's not fair to me. Another big change is a cap on how much money graduate students can borrow. That was my wife. She got a master's degree. Before this change, students could borrow up to the cost of their tuition and fees. As of July 1st, graduate students pursuing master's degrees will only be able to take out federal loans up to $20,500 per year or $100,000 total. That should cover it. For a master's degree, that should cover it. I don't care who, you may not be able to go to, some Ivy League school, but that should cover it. $100,000 total. If you can't get a master's degree for $100,000, don't get a master's degree. Don't do it. Give up. Find something else. The world needs ditch diggers too. There are also new limits. Professional students, which includes law school or medical school, will be able to borrow up to $50,000 per year or $200,000 total. There are also new limits on Parent Plus loans, which is the amount of money parents can do. You know, the best thing we ever did, we funded my kids' education. There was a time in my career when I was making a lot of money. We took all of it and we didn't buy candy and we didn't buy toys. We put it in funds, accounts, to where my kids could go to college. It's not going to cost them anything. So that means when they get out of college. Now, if they decide to go crazy, my daughter's already graduated. But if my son decides to go crazy and get a doctorate or something like that, he might have to borrow a little bit of money, which is fine. I don't care about that. But I took responsibility and I did that. So, you know, I made those plans. Maybe everybody should make those plans for their kids as best you can. I don't know. But either way, you shouldn't have to, you shouldn't expect the rest of us to pay back the money. And this is going to cause problems. It's going to make the payments higher. Yes, it is. If they say that, I have no reason to doubt their numbers. Yes, it is. But that doesn't mean that the rest of us should have to pay back your loans because you were irresponsible. 855-839-1210 is the number here. Let's go to Bonnie in New Jersey. Bonnie, you're on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT with Casey. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I just want to share my daughter's student loan debt story with you. Okay. I shared it several months ago with Dawn and those guys. But since you're talking about it, so my daughter went to a school out of state, which is number one problem.
Now, I was going to say you pay out-of-state tuition. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, talk about stupid. This is stupid the whole way through this story, okay?
Okay.
So she went to school out of state. Don't get divorced while your kids are in college, number two. It completely derailed her.
Yeah.
She was on a good track, sailed out because it was just a very emotional situation for her.
Sure.
And waited a few months, went back, but she was doing like summer school. She just wanted a college education.
Sure.
So she started off with occupational therapy, went to recreational therapy. When she went back, she didn't have enough credits to get back into the program. So they let her graduate with a degree in university studies. You can't do anything with that.
Undeclared.
So
that's like, they used to call it, when I was in college, it was called liberal arts. It was, you took a bunch of everything to get enough credits to get a piece of paper. That's what it was.
Exactly. I don't know what the hell we were thinking. I just kept thinking, I guess this is what college costs, right? So anyway, so 5.5 years later, she finally graduated with debt over $218,000 in student loan debt. But she had the paper.
Yeah.
So we're like, what do you do? What do we do? So, you know, she
also got a degree in nothing.
We have to pay this back.
Yeah. And she has a degree in nothing.
We agreed. Nothing. Exactly. So, anyway, so she joined the military. So she joined the Coast Guard and was in the Coast Guard for 4 years, was able to lower her interest rates. She was able to put the federal loans on hold. She had a lot of personal loans. So her father and I were helping her pay them back, 1/3 each from each of us.
Uh-huh.
And then what she did was she was able to buy 2 houses with a VH loan. She flipped them, sold the houses, and got rid of so much of her student loan debt. I think she's down to $80,000 still.
What is she doing for a living?
So now she's in the Navy.
Oh, she's still in the
still in the
military. Okay.
Yeah, so she's still in the military. She's in cybersecurity. So she's actually stationed overseas right now. So she's really loving her career.
Good.
She's able to pay her loans back. I retired, so now it's just she and her dad paying the loans back. So it's more manageable. But I told her, I said, we signed these papers. We have to pay them back.
Yeah.
So
you hope people make good decisions,
so
right?
concerned about her credit, too.
Yeah, but I mean, at least she was concerned. At least that's a great story, and I would never discourage anybody from going to the armed forces. My father-in-law is a cardiologist, and he didn't have the money to become a cardiologist, so he joined the Air Force. And he took, the deal was you join the Air Force, you get through medical school. If you got a specialty, you get to go do that, and you owe them years. You don't owe them money, you owe them years. And
Oh,
the
yeah.
military covered his, and he was perfectly happy doing that. And I mean, I don't know how long he was in the military, probably 15 years, maybe. I think, I don't know. But he did that, and then when he was done, he got out, and he was a cardiologist, and he had zero debt. You know, now to be in the military, that's not for everybody. But you know, if you want to be a doctor, and you want to get the specialty, it's like, yeah, you'll owe years. But like I said, I think he was in for 15 years, and that is, I mean, that's on top of you go to school and then you're in the military. So I mean, if you wanted to do that, you could go be a doctor. You work for the military, and you know, he may have had to go to some rotten places. He actually didn't end up having to do that, but that's a way to do it. You know.
Yeah,
that's absolutely
you
a way
have
to
to be
do it.
creative. There are ways to do it. You've got to pay that money back. So
You know what? I mean, yes, you got to be creative. You're absolutely right. You do have to be creative. And I don't mean to insult your daughter in any way, shape, or form, but you also have to pull your head out and look at what you're doing. You know, you have to sit back and go.
And that's why she went into cybersecurity.
Yeah.
You know, in the military, like she was very, very smart about it.
Yeah.
She
And now
really
she's in-
figured this out. I'm so proud of her.
That's
Yeah.
great. And now she's in cybersecurity, and she gets a phone call from you all the time and go, my router's how do I get the internet to come on? Right? That's what you do. Right? Call her for computer problems.
Exactly, I know.
They're good. Hey, more power to you, man. I'll tell you. And good for her for figuring out a way. But not everybody is that smart.
Yeah.
All right, Bonnie. Thanks for calling WPHT. I
I'm
appreciate
telling
it.
you this.
Yeah.
I'm telling you this in case your listeners are thinking, you know, oh my God, is there some way? So
of course
you
there
know,
is.
there might be one thing they can think about, you know.
Well, no, none of
So,
them are good.
anyway,
None of
thanks
these
for the
lazy
call.
people. Look at the people who don't want to pay the money back. There's two kinds. There's people who will pay the money back, and it's hard, but they made their decisions and they go with it. And then there's the people who don't believe they should have to pay the money back that they borrowed. And those people will never do something like join the military because they don't have it. They don't have what it takes to be in the military.
It's not for everybody.
No, it's not,
But when
and it's not for
Biden
people.
was, when Biden was talking about pardoning student loan debt, I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, maybe he'll become a Democrat." Just kidding.
See, that was the plan
like-
all along. That was the whole plan.
I know.
All right, Bonnie. Thanks for calling WPHT. Appreciate it. That was the whole plan there behind that. But yeah, I mean, you know, most people don't think, okay, I borrowed all this money, and now I have to pay it back. What can I do to get the money to pay it back? Most people don't do that. Most people sit there and go, I didn't have to pay the money back. It's not fair. And think about that. Because that's the attitude. They don't say it like the way I said. They probably think that way in their head because they're crybabies. But what they probably think they say out loud that, oh, I can't afford it. I didn't know. You have to be smart. All right? Look at the degree you want to get. Look at what you're going into college for. And again, you don't have to take all the money you qualify for. I went through it with my wife. We did not take all the money. I think we did once. I think we bought a computer once because our computer crapped out and the student loan money was there. And we're like, okay, we'll take an extra $1,000. We'll buy a nice computer. And we did that. But that was the only time we did that. And then we paid that back. I didn't sit back and go, why do we have to pay it back? That's not fair. You have to look at what you want to do. You have to look at what it pays. And you have to think about how much money you're borrowing. And that's what happens. People don't think about what they want to get their degree in. I mean, what was that? I can't remember what she said. University studies? University studies, I think is what she called it. Liberal arts is what they called it when I was in school. You would get that degree. That's literally a degree in nothing. There is no university studies. Oh, I see you got university studies. What's that? They probably changed it because it was liberal arts when I was in school. It was liberal arts when I was in college, and people know what liberal arts is. So if you say university studies, it's probably, oh, wow, that's pretty impressive. You were university studies. That's literally a degree in nothing. You sit around and took enough classes to amass enough credits in order to get a degree, but it's a degree in nothing. And now you have that, and that's great. But if you're going to get if you want to go to school and you want to borrow massive amounts of money, and the other thing that happens, and again, I blame the person who borrows the money for not pulling their head out and seeing what they're doing. Everybody else and all the student loan borrowers who don't want to pay the money back, those people always blame the university. They blame the people who loan them the money. They blame everybody else but themselves for what they're doing. And these people probably don't take the time to say, I want to go be whatever. I don't even know what to do. I want to get some kind of degree. I don't know what it is, typewriter repair, because I think that's going to make a comeback. So I go get my degree in typewriter repair, and then when I graduate, I get my diploma, and I start looking for a job, and then they are shocked by two things. One, how little an entry-level job pays, and two, that they are not automatically made the CEO of the company because that's what they think they deserve. They think they're going to walk out of college and immediately make $500,000 a year, buy a house, buy cars, get married, have kids, buy a second home down in Florida, and then they're shocked when they have an entry-level job that only pays them about $40,000 a year, and that they have to work their way up because mommy told them they were special. That's what's happening. So these changes that are going into effect today are great because there's no way out. There is no way out. And I love it. You are now going to have to pay your loans back. And if you don't, if you default, that's going to be on your record, and you're going to have to carry that with you every time you end up having to go try to get a job or try to buy a home or try to buy a car. It's going to show that you're stupid and you don't think you should have to pay the money back. And again, not everybody is dumb. Not everybody is stupid. Things happen. People make bad choices, but a lot of these people who think that they simply shouldn't have to pay them back, those are the problem. They're not only the problem with student loans, they're literally the problem with everything. They think that we, you and me, I don't have student loans. I was making a good living. I was working in radio in Los Angeles, and I was making a good living when I went to college, and I paid as I went. Now, I went to the Cal State system, so, you know, I can't do math and I can't sign my name. I just make a little X because that's the quality of education I got. But still, I paid as I went. And so I didn't walk out with any debt. My wife borrowed a little bit to get her master's degree, and we paid that off as we went. And that's how you go. Things happen to people. I understand that. But the fact that you think that the rest of us should have to pay $1.7 trillion because you don't want to doesn't make any sense to me. So I want to know if you agree with these changes. I want to know if you have any student loan stories that you want to share, like Bonnie's, about having to pay them back. I would especially like to hear. Now, I don't think nobody's going to be listening to a right-wing talk station. Let's be honest, with that kind of attitude. But if there's anybody out there who thinks they shouldn't have to pay back their student loans, just because, I would like to hear your justification. Make me understand. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. My name is Casey Bartholomew. It's 5:30. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Free speech lives here with Don Stensland, 10 till noon on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for buying gas. That's right. You can earn cash back with Upside just for buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside, and just last year, I made nearly $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get cash back? If you like extra cash, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back when you fill your tank. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. America is turning 250, and Rescue Natural Supplements is celebrating in a big way. For a limited time, honor 250 years of freedom. Buy any 2 or more single bottles and save 50% with the code FREEDOM250. That's right, mix and match your favorite premium supplements. Enjoy half off every bottle. Whether you're looking for quality omega-3s, natural cholesterol solutions, weight loss, or joint comfort formulas, now's the perfect time to stock up and save. For over 40 years, years, Rescue has developed research-backed wellness solutions and high-quality ingredients you can trust. And with prices rising everywhere, there's never been a better time to save on the supplements you need most. Just go to res-q.com to mix and match site-wide and use that code FREEDOM250. Or call a product consultant 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483, because freedom feels even better when you're saving 50%. Shop online and save now. res-q.com. Use that code FREEDOM250.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Larry Steinhaus, and I want to let you know that I buy houses. I buy houses from people that may be a tired landlord, maybe somebody who's having trouble selling their house, or maybe someone who needs to sell their house quickly. Well, all you need to do is call 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I promise to answer the phone and help you with your situation. That's right, your house may be cluttered. It may be a house that a relative left you, or it may just be a house you just want to get rid of. 855-939-1137.
A plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center.
The events of September 11th changed our nation forever. As we approach the 25th anniversary, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT is looking to hear directly from those who experienced that day firsthand. Were you a first responder who answered the call on September 11th? Were you in New York City, Washington, or near Shanksville? Share your story as part of our special 25th anniversary broadcast, 9/11 Through the Eyes of, a collection of personal memories, reflections, and experiences from those whose lives were forever changed. If you have a first-hand account and would like to be considered for an interview, visit 1210WPHT.com. Let's remember, honor, and preserve them for future generations. Go to 1210WPHT.com.
Progressive Insurance. Progressive can protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, RV, and more. In short, a lot of things. Bundle today at Progressive.com.
Now back to the Piazza Auto Group Studios. Experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. This is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
.1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Casey Bartholomew. I'll be with you until 7 o'clock. Stick around after the news at 7. That'll be when Fox Across America with Jimmy Fela comes on. 855-839-1210. That's 855-839-1210 is the number. We're talking about the new student loan rules that are going into effect today. Right now, as we speak. Basically, you're going to have to pay your student loans back. That's really what you should read about this. All right? Yeah, there's different rules. You're going to have to, they're cutting down on the plans that you can have. There's going to be one of 2 plans. You're going to have to pick one. The freaks who haven't been paying their bills because dummy Biden convinced you didn't have to, or haven't been paying them since the pandemic, you're going to have to start back up. Life as you know it is going to collapse. You borrowed the money. You should have to pay it back. Is there anybody who can justify not paying back the money? I want to get your reaction to all this. 855-839-1210. Let's go to Jose in Philly. Jose, you're on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT with Casey. Go ahead.
Hey, Casey.
Hey.
Casey, you all ready for Independence Day weekend?
Independence Day weekend? I hate parades and I hate heat, so I'm going to turn the air conditioner up full blast and hide under my blankets.
Oh, come on, man. That's like saying you hate America.
I love America because I have the right to turn my air conditioning up and hide under the blankets while I turn all the lights off in my house. That's my favorite part about being an American.
I was just about to mention the air conditioning thing.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty interesting segment you just had on because I wasn't aware of the student loan changes.
Yeah.
But
today,
the question, those freaks that you mentioned that don't want to pay up, who do you think they vote for generally?
I would imagine Democrats, but I don't know. I haven't polled them.
Yeah, sure. And that previous caller that you had on, her daughter, if you were to guess, who do you think that her daughter votes for?
Well, if you heard that whole story, I mean, I don't want to cast any aspersions either way. I would imagine she's willing to go into the military, and I think most military people are Republican. And by the way, I don't like answering questions. Just say what you have to say.
Sure. I'll stop it with the rhetoricals. But it's funny that you said that because I had the same thought process. It's like, all right, well, this girl's owned 2 properties and flipped them. She worked in the military. She'll probably vote for the people who are passing these laws right now, who don't want to saddle the taxpayer with all this debt forgiveness the Democrats.
Well, look, I'll play the same game you do. If I told you that there was a person whining and complaining because they had to pay back the money that they agreed to pay back, you could pick what party they're part of, right? I don't know I'm sure it's not 100%, but you could pick. And if I showed you somebody who, pulled themselves up, had a problem, had to solve it, made decisions, acted like a grown-up, and, did what they needed to do, you could pretty much guess what political party they're a member of as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not really that hard of a question.
No, it's not.
Those are the ones they'd answer on Jeopardy.
I can't do that. They never pick cartoons, and I never get it right.
Yeah, yeah. Not thing you want to watch with friends, because everybody else always knows the answer.
Yeah.
But the one thing I realized was that, well, there's maybe a couple things. If she were voting in her own interests, then maybe she wouldn't be as Republican as we think she is. And I don't want to pick her out of a million people. Let's just say the archetypical person that has almost the same story, right? They went to college for a nonsense degree.
Yeah.
And neither they nor their parents knew anything about the loan process or how much debt they were accruing. Mm-hmm. Initially, they're probably going to want to vote Democrat for student loan forgiveness. But let's say she does the same thing. Let's say she goes and works for the military. What political party is a proponent of having as many women and minorities in the military as possible? Well, you probably want to vote for the party that's going to hire you.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we don't want to pay for these people's student loans, but who finances the military? We do, with our tax dollars.
Where are you going with this?
She flipped. I'm going to wrap it all up with one last point. Finally, she flipped 2 houses, property owner. Very cool, right?
Yeah.
About 30% of the last retail housing growth in the last quarter was caused by legal and illegal immigrants in the country. So if you want to try and keep flipping houses and making money, it's in your interest to have more people from outside the U.S. in the U.S. So if you're looking at it from a practical standpoint and economic standpoint,
I'm not sure what point you're trying to make.
I'd vote for Democrats too.
So I don't know what you just said. I'm not sure where you came from and where I don't. Articulate. They weren't, because I couldn't even follow what you were trying to say. So you probably think you're being very articulate. So are you in favor of banning people or allowing people not to pay back their student loans or not? Because I'm having trouble following your logic.
It depends. Does this count as government regulation in a private?
Oh, Jesus! Just answer the damn question.
Look, all I'm saying is, if I were her, it'd be in my interest to vote for the Democrats, even though technically.
All right. I don't know what you're trying to use. So you think people who don't want to pay back their student loans should vote for Democrats? Is that what you're trying to say? I guess not. It took a long way to get there. I don't know. This is why nobody likes Democrats, because they can't say what they're trying to say. Let's go to Mike. Jose, thanks for wasting our time. Mike in South Carolina, you're on WPHT with Casey. Go ahead.
Hey, Casey, thanks so much. Yeah, I could hear that guy. He's a real idiot.
I don't know what he was trying to say.
Laughing at you. That I knew right away, because I don't
get it. I get laughed at all the time. Yeah, I get laughed at all the time. So I didn't know.
He's such a Democrat, but he is.
Yeah.
But the point is that, Trump lives rent-free in their head. All right, but the real reason I called in was to say how I got through college.
Okay.
I paid every penny.
Me too.
I got a little bit of a loan from my father for one semester. But I paid everything. I had to pay gas in my car. I had to pay the loan on my car. I had to pay working on my car. And I had to pay college.
Yeah.
And I had to pay insurance on my car.
Yeah.
I mean, how how do people think that they can get through life without paying $1? I mean, that's just stupid.
Well, I
and
think
when
about
that
these
guy
people
was talking to you and started laughing, I knew he was a Democrat.
Yeah, I couldn't follow what he was trying to say. But what I don't, what happens when you allow these idiots to not pay back the student loans? And the reason isn't because it's not about affordability or anything like that. It's what they want to spend their money on. They want to buy toys and houses and go on vacations and buy cars and things like that. That's the general issue that you get there. But what happens when they borrow money for a house and they don't want to pay that back? Are we supposed to say, okay, you don't have to pay for your house anymore either,
Yeah, I paid for my own house as well in Mount Holly there in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, so I don't understand. I mean, where do we draw the line? Is it just student loans? If you buy a car that you really can't afford, but you really want that car, and now that car is old and doesn't get good gas mileage, and it's not the same car you bought 6 years ago, do you get to not pay that off anymore because you don't want to? I mean, where do we draw the line?
It was a used car. And I checked, how much I could afford monthly. You got to know your monthly budget.
Yeah.
And if I could just fit it into my monthly budget, which I did, then, I bought the car. Yeah. Oh my God! I can't.
It's infuriating.
Listen to people who don't want to pay anything back.
It's infuriating because, and again, I keep thinking, where do we draw the line? Like I said, the depreciation on a car. You buy a new car that costs whatever. You wanted a really nice car, so I haven't bought a new car in years. I buy used cars, but it costs $40,000, and you drive it around for a couple of years, and now it's not worth what it was. It's not as comfortable. Maybe you got a few scratches in it, something like that. Do you then get to go to the bank and say, I don't want to pay for that car anymore? So you don't get to make me pay for that. The house gets older. Maybe you outgrow the house. You've got a couple of kids, so now you don't want to pay for that house. I mean, where do we draw the line? They sound like ridiculous examples, but it's no less ridiculous than somebody agreeing to pay back money and then thinking they shouldn't have to pay it back. It doesn't make any sense.
Casey.
You bet, man. Thanks for calling WPHT. Appreciate it. Yeah, and that's where I keep going with this. And I get especially mad because my wife and I made sacrifices. All right? When we were a two-income family, we had just gotten married, and we had to pay off our student loans. We didn't buy a house right away. And the reason we didn't buy a house right away is because we had student loans to pay off. We waited a couple of years to have kids. The reason we waited a couple of years to have kids is because we had to pay off our student loans. We both drove old cars. They were fine cars, but they were old cars because we had to pay off our student loans, and that was our priority. The thought never occurred to us to call the people we borrowed the money from and say, we have to pay it back because we want to buy toy. I mean, that's because that's what they're saying. And you go back again. Where does the line get drawn? I don't want to pay for my car anymore. Okay. I don't want to pay for my house anymore. You get to go to the grocery store and decide that I'm not going to pay for these groceries, but I'm going to take them and I'm going to eat them. And I'm going to get the benefit of having these groceries and all this food, but I'm not going to pay for it. I mean, where exactly do we draw the line? They may sound like ridiculous examples, but it's no more ridiculous or less ridiculous to somebody like me who thinks that if you borrow money, you should have to pay it back. $1.7 trillion in student loan debt. Why should any of us who didn't borrow the money have to pay a penny of that back? It doesn't make any sense to me. And these new rules are in place. And again, they go into effect today. And there's a number of things, and they're going to be put into effect, and they're going to require people who are grown-ups to act like grown-ups. They're going to require people who agree to pay money back to pay the money back. And that's the end of it. Now, we know in 2 years there will be other Democrats who are going to say, we're just going to wipe it all clean. They're not going to be able to because the Supreme Court already said, but they're going to try to get laws. They're going to try to do everything they can. And all they're doing when they're doing this is trying to buy votes. It's like that idiot Murphy we were talking about last hour with the $25 an hour minimum wage. That is just the left trying to buy votes, using taxpayer dollars to buy votes. That's all they're doing. I would venture to guess that Biden and his ilk knew that they wouldn't get the student loan debt done, but they were trying to angle it to where it's the evil Republicans requiring people to do what they said they were going to do. And that's what it comes down to. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. My name is Casey Bartholomew. It's 546. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
My name's Micaela. I joined the Army at 17. When I got back from Iraq a few years ago, I became pregnant and ended up homeless.
No veteran should ever face homelessness. The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs is working hard to end veteran homelessness by the end of 2015. VA offers programs to help eligible veterans stay healthy, find a job, and secure or maintain safe, stable housing. With a simple call to 877-424-3838, specialists can connect veterans to the services and support they have earned, regardless of their branch or era of service.
My life works now. I got help from VA, and now I'm on a mission to share these resources.
VA is here to help. If you or a veteran you know is homeless or at immediate risk of becoming homeless, call 877-424-3838 or chat online at va.gov/homeless.
Tune in to the Crash Proof Retirement Show Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Joanne Small-Canella and Tracy Stillman. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Summer is here, and that means pool days and patio nights. But is your uneven concrete making your backyard feel more like a construction zone than a vacation spot? Stop worrying about stubbed toes and stumbles. Keystone Guncrete can level your pool deck and patio quickly and cleanly, saving you thousands over the cost of pouring new concrete. We'll have your backyard party ready before your water even gets warm. Head to KeystoneGuncrete.com. Remember, Guncrete is spelled with a K. Mention 1210 and we'll take $50 off your project.
See website for details. BillsHappen.com is not a lender. It does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
Honey, everything is so expensive, and our bills are piling up.
You're telling me credit cards are maxed out, rent is due, and the car payment's right around the corner? We need some extra cash.
We should do what my friend from work did. She went to BillsHappen.com and got the money she needed the next day.
Our credit is not great. Are you sure that would work for us?
BillsHappen.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with all credit types get up to $5,000.
Sounds like it's going to be a hassle.
My friend said it was super easy. She did it right from her phone during her lunch break.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan for up to $5,000, and your cash can hit your bank account the next day. BillsHappen.com's lenders have millions of dollars to lend, regardless of your credit history.
Guess what? I went to BillsHappen.com, and we're getting our money tomorrow.
Wow, that's fast. Problem solved.
If you need extra cash, go to BillsHappen.com. That's BillsHappen.com. BillsHappen.com.
Now you can listen to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
.550 Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Casey Bartholomew. I'll be with you until 7. Stick around after the news at 7. That will be when Fox Across America with Jimmy Fallon comes on. 855-839-1210 is our number. That's 855-839-1210. We are talking about the major changes that went into effect today about student loan debt. Basically, you got to pay your loans back. That's what it comes to. You have to pay your loans back, and you've now got two paths, basically. There's two plans you can take. I don't know how many there were before, because I just paid my wife's back. That's all we did. So, but now you've got two. The myth that Biden was floating to people, and again, he knew it was a myth. Well, the people around him did. He didn't know anything. That it was that they were just going to forgive everybody's student loans, and then everybody was going to get a puppy and a unicorn too. I believe they didn't know. They knew that wasn't going to fly. That's what I believe. But that's just me. Anyway, so these they go into effect. You're going to have to pay your loans back, and it limits the amount of money you can borrow too, by the way. Which sounds like a bad thing because you're trying to pay to go to school, but it limits the amount you can borrow. It limits the amount you have to pay back as well. Now, you might have to get a job like a big boy or girl and help pay for things, and it might take you a little bit longer because you don't have all the money right there that you once had, but you still will limit the amount you have to pay back. That's a good thing. Let's go to the phones here and talk to Mike in Havertown. Mike, you're on WPHT with Casey. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I appreciate your comments about consequences and, people should have to pay their loans back. Yeah. I do find it interesting that the Small Business Administration will only guarantee 40% for small businesses, but there's no ability for people to declare bankruptcy. But basically, the government's too involved in the student loans.
For student loans? Is that what you're talking? Are you talking about small business or student loans?
Well, I'm pointing out that like a small business that has a business plan and the proof of income and a whole bunch of things, the government still only guarantees 40% of that, and you still have a conventional lender. Where these students, these 18-year-old kids, not kids, adults, but
they're adults.
They don't. You don't get to declare personal bankruptcy, so. You can't walk away from these loans. The government's backing basically 100%.
You can. It's difficult. It's difficult. Not everybody can do it. It depends on a lot of different factors, but it's not a blanket thing where you can borrow the money, go to college, have no income, and say, "Well, I'll just declare bankruptcy." It's not as easy as that. There are factors that have to be in play.
That's my point. Yeah. That's 100% my point. Is that you cannot just walk away from these loans.
Yeah.
But if I take out a loan for a car and I don't pay it, my car gets repossessed. There's consequences. Right. The free market gets involved. What they've done here is they get the government involved, and the free market's not as involved. Yeah. And that's why you see these tuitions ballooning, and there's no personal responsibility.
And that's the hope. And Mike, thanks for calling WPHT. I appreciate it. That's the hope. Is that with lowering the amount that people can borrow, the schools will then lower costs. I don't know if they will or not, but that's the hope. That and what. Let's go to Wayne in Cape May. Wayne, you're on WPHT with Casey. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, and thanks a lot for deconstructing that clown Democrat a few callers back.
I did. I don't even know. I don't even think he knows what he was trying to say. So.
Oh, no, you did a great job. Listen, this whole student loan thing has to be rethought. You're giving an 18-year-old a loan, no collateral, has no credit history, and now people like me are responsible for it now. That whole thing has to be rethought. And the second point I want to make, and I hope your listeners pick up on this, is these Gen Xers and Gen Zers got so much personal debt and their gambling debt. Online gambling on their phones constantly. Head bent over like they're on fence. Okay? Yeah. Okay? And, you want me to pay for your college? No. I am so much against that. I went to college years ago, and I had to pay for it, and I worked grunt jobs and everything else. Yeah. And these kids, kudos to the Supreme Court for basically telling people you got to be responsible for your decisions.
No, and you're right. And the gambling stuff, I mean, you would still have to pay those back, I think, but if those losses back. But yeah, that's a fairly new thing. But I have no problem with student loans as a concept, Wayne, and thanks for calling WPHT. I have no problem with student loans as a concept of, loaning somebody. The problem I have is when people think that they don't have to pay it back, because that doesn't make sense to me. These kids do get debt. And just allowing them to skirt away from it and not pay it is ridiculous to me, no matter what the debt is from. Let's go to Mary in Doylestown real quick. Mary, you're on WPHT with Casey. Go ahead.
Casey, I agree with you 100%. They need to pay the whole loan. They need to pay it back. I paid for mine. My kids paid for theirs. We have no school debt. It's a responsibility on the person who wants to go to college. And maybe they'll think twice about going when they know that that's attached to them.
I don't even think that they should think twice about going. I think they should think twice about the decisions they make. I mean, go to college. Even if you're going to get a university studies degree, it's better than nothing. Mary, I got to let you go. Thanks for calling WPHT. But still go to college, but think about what's going to happen when you get out of college. Think about the decisions, the income level that you're going to make, things like that. Don't go get a worthless degree that's not going to pay you any money, and then when you have to pay the money back that you borrowed, you're going to be in dire straits. Just act like an adult. You are an adult, and don't expect anybody else to pay your bills. More coming up. I am Casey Bartholomew. It is 5:57. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code BOOST to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money, so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code BOOST to borrow up to $10,000. Use code BOOST to borrow up to $10,000.
So Ryan and I came to the decision to get life insurance when I was pregnant with our first son. He really wanted us to be taken care of if something happened to him. He provided for our family in life and also after his death. I think that would make him proud. Ethos makes it fast and easy to get life insurance. Apply in minutes and get same-day coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Saw a t-shirt recently that said too much of anything is bad, unless we're talking about bacon. Now, we can debate that all day long, right? But the point is, portion control is a good thing. That can also be said about your retirement accounts. Too much risk, and you could get burned by a down market. Too conservative, and maybe you can't take that Alaskan cruise. Alan Cohen at Spectrum Wealth Partners understands portion control. He can build a retirement plan with a level of protection and risk designed specifically for you. And if you don't want any risk at all, he can do that too. Call Alan Cohen today for a free meeting to discuss it. 856-322-8686. That's 856-322-8686. Or online at SpectrumWP.com.
Advisory services offered through Concurrent Investment Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Concurrent Investment Advisors, LLC, and Spectrum Wealth Partners are not affiliated companies.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In North Dakota, President Trump toured the Theodore Roosevelt Library in Medora and delivered remarks at the opening ceremony. The president arriving on the new Air Force One gifted from Qatar. ABC's Selena Wang has more.
There's been bipartisan concern over the conflicts of interest here, the ethical, the legal, the national security concerns. Remember, this is a $400 million gift from Qatar. This is likely the largest gift ever from a foreign government. And the Pentagon has spent the last year, as well as hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayer money, to retrofit this plane and do the necessary security upgrades to make sure that it's fit for use by the President of the United States.
The Supreme Court issuing a decision limiting law enforcement's use of geofencing. That's tracking suspects by sweeping up cell phone location data, including from those with no connection to a possible crime.
This is a 6-3 ruling authored by Justice Elena Kagan. She basically said all of this location data is private material. She basically described this data like a personal journal of your location, and she compared it to photos and emails, things that are usually protected by the Fourth Amendment. She says that a user, even if you're sharing this data with a third party like Google, has a reasonable expectation of privacy, and that the Fourth Amendment covers that location data.
ABC's Peter Haralombos. More World Cup action tonight, and it's win or go home for the U.S. team. They take on Bosnia and Herzegovina. ABC's Christian Cordero is at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California.
This is a U.S. men's national team that has proven through the past 3 matches that they deserve to compete in this World Cup. Not just that we deserve to be here, deserve to play in front of a home crowd, but actually perform. You know, the last game we got to rotate a bunch of players because the game itself, the results weren't going to change the standing.
If the U.S. pulls off a win, it marks the first time the team can move on from the first knockout round since 2002. You're listening to ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month with Window Nation at 50% off all window styles. Yes, 50% off new, beautiful, energy-efficient windows, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 2 years. Call now, 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
Ever wonder why you have insurance for your car or home, but not your digital life? Meet WebRoot Total Protection, your digital bodyguard that includes antivirus, identity protection, VPN, cloud backup, and more. With plans for individuals and families, WebRoot takes the guessing game out of cybersecurity so you can get back to living your best life online. Go to webroot.com/protect and get 60% off today. That's webroot.com/protect to get 60% off today. Live a better digital life with WebRoot because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
In Ohio, east of Cincinnati, authorities say 16 children were removed from a home after living in squalor. Police describing conditions the worst they have ever seen. Some of the kids had to be hospitalized and were hidden from neighbors. Vinton County Prosecutor William Archer announced the charges against 4 adult family members.
The 4 defendants were arraigned on 16 counts of second-degree felony, child endangering.
The defendants were ordered not to have contact with the victims. New details about yesterday's disturbance aboard a United Express flight after a man allegedly forced the plane to make an emergency landing in Indianapolis.
In audio from ATC.com, you can hear the pilots of the United Express flight operated by Mesa Airlines saying a passenger tried to open the cabin door in flight.
Yeah, we have a belligerent passenger trying to open the cabin door. We have passengers trying to get him secured in a seat right now.
New court documents say the suspect had been drinking before the flight and was detoxing from methamphetamine. In fact, they say he was on his way to rehab in Houston. The man allegedly called 911 while the plane was taking off, telling the operator to stop the aircraft. And then he allegedly charged forward as passengers restrained him. He was ultimately held down until the plane landed back in Indianapolis. Alex Stone, ABC News.
And excitement building in New York City for Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's possible wedding-themed events this weekend. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month with Window Nation at 50% off all window styles. Yes, 50% off new, beautiful, energy-efficient windows, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 2 years. Call now, 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to today's graduation ceremony. Students, when you hear the reason or reasons for your absences throughout the years, please exit the auditorium without your high school diploma. Once you've exited, remove your cap and gown and proceed into the unknown. Too tired. Family trip. Part-time job. Helping around the house. Sick day. Starting the holidays early. Just because.
Starting in the 6th grade, students who miss 18 days or more of school in a year for any reason will fall behind and risk not graduating high school. How many days of school has your child missed this year? Absences add up. Keep track at boostattendance.org today. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
6:06, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Casey Bartholomew. I'll be here until 7 o'clock. Stick around after 7. That's when Fox Across America with Jimmy Fela comes on. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. I never liked the idea where parents get to shirk their responsibility and blame everybody else for what's wrong. If you're going to have kids, it's your job to raise them properly, parent them, pay attention to what they're doing, have conversations with them, all of that stuff. So I always hate these ridiculous lawsuits that pop up against social media outlets and the like. Oh my gosh, kids like social media. I deserve money, is the way I hear it. I know that's not what they say, but that's the way I hear it. The latest ridiculous lawsuit, TikTok has reached a settlement in a lawsuit brought by a teenager who sued the company and other social media platforms, alleging they harmed his mental health, according to an attorney for the plaintiff. Gee, I wonder where the parents were telling him to, get off social media and parenting him and taking responsibility for raising their kids. Is he suing them for not parenting him? Probably not. The terms of the settlement are still being finalized. It's going to be millions. The 15-year-old boy, identified in court filings by his initials, RKC. He accuses Meta, the parent of Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Snapchat, of designing platforms that are addictive through features such as infinite scroll and autoplay. Or you can just put your phone down. Anyone? Just put the phone down, just not. Or maybe the parents could pay attention. I have a son and daughter that grew up during all of this. We paid attention. It really didn't seem complicated to me to pay attention and have conversations with my children and take their phones away if I thought they were spending too much time. I really it wasn't hard. I didn't mind doing it. So, was that ever considered, or did we just automatically go to a lawsuit? Probably just automatically went to a lawsuit. According to Emily Jeffcoat, an attorney for RKC, said in a phone interview, he's still a kid. He's still in high school and evaluating the impact that social media had on his very young life. I think that should really be a lens that's worth paying attention to. Or parents? Anyone? Just parent the kid? Just anything? No? Okay. Making sure. It's not the parents' fault. It's not the parents' job to pay attention to their kids. That's ridiculous. It's Meta's job to raise your kid, right? It's YouTube's job to raise your child. All I had to do was have sex. 13 seconds of passion, and now it's Instagram's responsibility to raise my child. That's the way I view it. And I don't know why they're settling lawsuits with it. YouTube also settled with the plaintiff last week, leaving Meta and Snap to face a jury in a trial expected to begin on July 27th. I would bring the parents in and say, where were you? While your kid was having issues with all the social media, where were you? Sitting in the corner and scratching yourself? That guy, I'm guessing, because their kid was at his nose in his phone so much that the parents weren't paying attention. This is all of this stuff. Anytime I read it, it's all a money grab from parents, and it's all assigning blame for things that are wrong with their kids when they clearly weren't parenting their kid. Now, RKC's case is the second to go to trial in consolidated litigation brought by thousands of plaintiffs, accusing Meta, YouTube, TikTok, and Snap of using addictive platform designs that contributed to mental health injuries and no parents. I mentioned this the other day. It's like the most annoying thing I ever see is when I'll take my family to lunch like Saturday or Sunday, And they'll take us to our seat and we'll walk through and we'll pass by all these tables with families with little kids looking down at their phone and not paying any attention. My kids weren't allowed to have their phones out when we were at lunch. If I thought they were spending too much time on their phone, it ended up in my pocket. I took it away because I remember reading something one time that when I had kids, I was responsible for raising them. I don't remember where I read it, but I know I read it. Maybe it was on the internet. But either way, I did those things. So when my kids started messing around too much on their phone, I took their phone away because I thought, as a good parent, it was more important for me to interact with my kids than just let them stare at Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook and Meta and all that stuff. I don't know where I read that. But based on lawsuits, I'm the only parent who read it. Well, my wife read it too, because I can't blame her for anything. Now, the first bellwether trial involving a 20-year-old identified as KGM. 20 years old, that's an adult. And we don't have to hide their name. That one ended in March with a $6 million verdict against Meta and YouTube. The jury found that the companies negligent in the design or operation of their social media platforms. Both companies have said they plan to appeal. And where were the parents? Why won't we point the finger where the finger needs to be pointed? It's not unlike the student loan thing. It's your fault for loaning me money that I then had to, for expecting me to pay the money back, right? This is the exact same thing. Where are the parents when these young kids have their noses shoved in their phones? Where are the limits on the amount of time your kid can be on the interwebs? Where is all that? Why is it Meta's fault for creating a popular product? Why aren't mom and dad taking phones away? I did. It's possible. Just grab it and put it somewhere. And then when they start behaving themselves, or when you've talked to them, or if they've gone outside or something like that, if you're sitting at lunch and you actually have conversations with your kids, why are we always blaming the social media companies? Yes, they are big. This is going to shock you. You may want to sit down. Ready? These are for-profit companies who have created a product that people want to use. These are companies that want you to use their products so that they will make even more money. They are part of a capitalist society. Yet, we blame them instead of the parents for not paying attention to their kids. That literally makes no sense to me. I can't understand why that's okay. I can't understand why expecting parents to parent their kids is less important than going after Meta. And these people got $6 million because their parents did a lousy job. They had lousy parents. This is the way it is. It's so hard because everybody's on social media today that I don't want to be the bad guy and I want to be my kid's bestest buddy. So you blame everybody else when all hell breaks loose. That's where we are right now. That makes perfect sense. Now, during her trial, the 20-year-old, known as KGM, and her attorneys argued that her heavy reliance on social media, parents? No? Okay. Which frequently involved use of Instagram's beauty filters, parents? Nope. Okay. Negatively affected her self-worth as a teen and led to body dysmorphia. Her addiction to the platforms also worsened her depression and anxiety. She told that to jurors this year. Again, I'm going to keep asking this. Where were the damn parents? Where were the people who were supposed to be paying attention to what their kids are doing? She's on Instagram all day using beauty filters. I would have said, you get your phone 2 hours a day. Done. Then it goes into my pocket. It's possible to do, by the way. It's possible to do with adults, too. I went and saw a concert about 3 years ago. I got free tickets. I wouldn't have paid for this myself. It's the blind guy. The singing blind guy. The singing operatic blind guy. But Bocelli Andrea Bocelli, I don't know. He sang great. They took my phone. I had to put it in a thing. Well, they didn't take it. I got it. I held it. But they put it in a thing and in a locked case so that I didn't have access to it. And then on my way out, there were like little stations that it was a magnet thing, and there were little stations that unlocked it. So if concert goers, if concert venues are taking phones away so that you'll pay attention to the concert, and they're taking them away from adults, why aren't parents taking phones away from their kids when their kids are having problems? I do not blame Meta. I do not blame Instagram. I do not blame YouTube. I don't blame TikTok. I don't blame Snapchat. What are the other ones? MySpace still a thing? I think I still have a MySpace page. If MySpace still exists, I never shut it down. But either way, all that stuff's going on. I don't blame them for anything. I blame the parents who aren't parenting their children. It is not Meta's job to raise your kid. It is not Meta's job to make sure your child is doing okay on social media. It is your job. You don't get a penny because you're a rotten parent. And your kids don't get a penny because you're a rotten parent. One of the lawyers for the 8-year-old, or I'm sorry, for the Florida teen, oh, what was his name? I don't have a name. RKG was the name. But either way, one of their lawyers said RKC, who has been using social media since he was 8 years old. Parents? Been using social media since he was 8 years old. Where are the parents? An 8-year-old doesn't get on social media unless mom and dad are aware of it. When my kids were 8 years old, they were not on social media. I am not the best parent in the world. And no, it's Meta's fault. Apparently Meta, YouTube, all these, they broke into this 8-year-old's house in the dead of night, took a cell phone, and forced him, possibly at gunpoint. You never know how far these internet companies are going to go, these social media companies are going to go. Possibly at gunpoint, forced this kid to get on social media at 8. Where were mom and dad? Anyway, he's been on since 8 years old, has been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and major depressive disorder tied to his social media use. In 2023, he began seeing therapists for those issues, including his suicidal ideations. Where were mom and dad? I would like to know if you think the social media companies are responsible for these kids' problems. Or maybe, just maybe, I know this is crazy talk. I know this is absolutely ridiculous. So take a breath. Maybe, just maybe, it is the parents' responsibility. Maybe, just maybe, and again, I'm just throwing it out here, maybe if your 8-year-old is getting on social media, you say, no. That's what I did. Maybe. Maybe if your teenager is obsessed with beauty filters. I tried to use those on Instagram. They didn't work. But anyway, maybe if your teenager is obsessed with beauty filters on Instagram, maybe take the phone away. Maybe you have conversations with your kid. Is it the car's fault that it can go 75 miles an hour? Is that the fault of the car because it can go fast? Or is it the fault of the person driving the car? Is it the fault of the social media companies for making a product? Or is it the fault of the parents for letting the kids get on social media? What we're going to end up with, you see countries doing it, we're going to end up with kids banned from social media. We're going to end up with kids who can't get a country with laws where kids can't get on social media. That's bad for the parents too, because then they're going to have to talk to their kids all the time. Oh my God, what a nightmare. I actually have to parent my kid. That is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard in my life. 8 years old gets on social media. So here's what I want to talk to you about. It's really simple. I would like to know if you think it is the parent's fault or the social media company's fault. I am a parent. Now, my kids are a little older now. My son's 18, but I am a parent. So if my kid has some sort of disorder because he spent too much time on social media when he was, 8, that's my fault. My kids don't have any issues like that, but that's my fault. If my daughter had been obsessed with Instagram beauty filters, that is my fault. I also made a rule, by the way, my wife and I did. I just kind of went along with it, that you can have Facebook at this age. Nobody has Facebook now, right? No kids do. That's like where old people go. But at the time, it was still a thing. When my daughter got Facebook, you can have a Facebook page. Your mother and I are your very first two friends. And we will watch everything going on. And we will take your phone and check it. If you want to have Instagram, we are your very first two followers. Yay! Mom and Dad are there. And that's the way it's going to go. And and the other rule was, we also had iPads. But if I ask for your phone, or if I ask for your tablet, you are to hand it over that second. If I say, let me have your phone, you are to give it to me now. And if you don't, when you give it to me, you're not going to get it for a week. And that was the rule. And we did that. And again, we are not the best parents in the world. All kinds of mistakes. Every parent makes mistakes. But all kinds of mistakes we made. But it is the responsibility of mom and dad. It is the responsibility of the parents. So, in my opinion. But I want to know if you think the social media companies are responsible for screwing up our kids, or if it's the parents' responsibility for not putting any restrictions on their damn kids. For letting them keep their noses in their tablets and not do anything. Give me a call. It's 855-839-1210. That's 855-839-1210. Now, I see the other side. I see the parents who don't really care about their kids. And if you let your kid get to that point, you don't really care about your kid. But if the parents who don't really care about their kid and they see these meta lawsuits and they see that Mark Zuckerberg is worth whatever he's worth, $100 billion, who knows, ridiculous amount. And they think, I'm going to sue and I'm going to get a big pile of money. I see the motivation for that. The problem is, like I said, who are these two kids? RKC, who got on social media when he was 8, and KGM, who's 20 and still uses the initials. I don't know why. Probably because they were kids when the lawsuit was filed. But either way, all these people who are getting obsessed with the beauty filters on Instagram, I don't see two kids who are the victim of social media. I see two kids who are the victim of bad parenting. I see my kids weren't allowed on social media until they were 12. My kids didn't get a cell phone until they were 12. And that was only because their mom and I worked, and we had, they had to be able to get a hold of us if there were issues, taking the bus home and things like that. But those were the rules right there. But I see kids who are the victim of bad parenting. We don't like to admit that because these lawsuits get so big and they become class action, and everybody thinks they're going to get a big pile of money. Instead, they get a little bit of a big pile of money. If the class action lawsuits go forward, that's the way it works. You're not going to get a big pile of money. You're going to get a little bit of money. You might get a couple of bucks. And you're still a rotten parent. And you're a rotten parent, and now you've got a kid who needs help, and you haven't done a damn thing because you were a rotten parent. But I see the motivation there. But when I hear these lawsuits, the very first thing I think about, maybe it's because my kids are older and they don't have mental issues, but the very first thing I think about is these are the kids of rotten parents. These are the kids of bad parents. These are the kids of the parents who I see when I take my family to breakfast or lunch on the weekends, and there's the mom and dad sitting there, and the kids all have their faces in their cell phones. Those are the parents that I see. And I certainly don't believe at all, even a little bit, that Meta or Snapchat or Instagram or YouTube or any of them owe anybody any money because you have parents or your parents refuse to put any restrictions on you. It's like suing the gun manufacturers, which I think is stupid. It's suing the car manufacturers, like I said earlier, because the car goes, 80 miles an hour. Should you drive at 80 miles an hour? No. But people do. And I'm sure I'm sure there have been lawsuits because that's the society we live in, right? I'm sure there have been lawsuits. I wouldn't have been driving that fast if my car didn't go that fast. It's the same mindset. It's just a little upgraded because of the technology. It's a little upgraded because of the way we do things now, because this is all internet and people don't really understand that and they refuse to see the correlation, but it's there. And if you are refusing to parent your kids, that's fine. Society is going to have to deal with them because they'll be in jail. But if you refuse to parent your kids, society is going to have to deal with them. But it doesn't mean that you or your kid deserve a big steaming pile of cash because of bad parenting. I would like to know when we're going to start filing lawsuits against the kids. We have those, some states have it. I don't have the list in front of me, right? But some states have it where if your kid is morbidly obese, you can be charged with child abuse. If a kid is ridiculously overweight, the mom and dad can be charged with child abuse. Why don't we start suing, the fast food companies? I'm sure someone has. The fast food companies for making fatty, really good food. Why don't we start suing any of the food companies, the ice cream companies for making ice cream that tastes good? Why aren't we doing that? Because it's the exact same thing. It is the job of the parent to keep their kid from eating too much junk food. It's the job of the parent to make sure that their kid doesn't get morbidly obese. It's not the fault of the food companies because the food is really good. Same way, it's not the fault of the social media companies because people refuse to parent their kids. And it's insulting to me as a parent who actually took the time to parent my kids that all these morons are getting, and you can always find a lawyer who will take a lawsuit about anything, right? Always, always, always. Because they work on retainer, and they'll get the money, and they'll get a part of the settlement that you get if you can get a settlement, and then they just go on the way. So there's no shortage of screwball lawyers who are going to take the lawsuits when they're filed. It doesn't mean that they have an actual lawsuit, and I can't get my mind around paying somebody $6 million because their parents sucked. We're going to take your phone calls on this. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. Multiple lawsuits. Social media companies apparently are now responsible for raising your kids. And I want to know if you agree. My name is Casey Bartholomew. It is 6:29. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
All right, we're enjoying our summer vacation, 4th of July, America's 250th, whatever it is. It's also time to think about your home. Hey, it's Rich Zioli, and even though I'm not with you this week, I know that if you're looking for a contractor who can help, you got to think about my friends at Emmons. EmmonsRoofing.com. Emmons delivers protection, peace of mind, and true craftsmanship. That's why Emmons is my go-to contractor for roofing, siding, and windows. And they even have a new bathroom division, and they remodeled the kids' bathroom, and it looks just absolutely amazing. Emmons doesn't just make your home look great, it makes it stunning from the curb. Energy efficient, secure, and ready to withstand the elements. You're going to get top quality, American-made products. It's going to increase your home's value and make your home more beautiful. From lifetime warranted Owens Corning roofs built to handle severe weather, to siding that insulates, to windows that blend style and performance, Emmons has you covered. Go to EmmonsRoofing.com. My great friends at EmmonsRoofing.com.
As a veteran of Iraq or Afghanistan, joining IAVA.org really helps in the transition home. It's a network of OIF and OEF vets like me who've got your back here, just like we did over there. That means when you need help navigating the GI Bill, we've got your back. And when you're dealing with the transition home, we've got your back. Or when you just want someone to share stories with, we've got your back. Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America is there for you. Join our community at IAVA.org. We've got your back.
Brought to you by IAVA and the Ad Council. I'm a radio guy. Always have been. I grew up with radio and still love it today. I love talk, music, and great personalities. I used to have satellite, and I've tried internet stations, but you know what? Local radio is still my favorite. Then I found HD radio. Now I get all the stations I've always listened to, plus a lot more I never knew were there. The coolest part? I bought an HD radio for just $50, and I pay no monthly subscription fees. So if you like radio, you'll love HD radio.
More stations, no monthly fees. HD radio, a good deal more.
Feel the power of the Acura Integra. You control how you move with its integrated dynamic system. Take the wheel of the ADX with available premium Bang & Olufsen sound. Experience the power of the MDX together with space for 7 passengers. But why keep talking? Experience performance that speaks for itself. Acura.
Visit Piazza Acura of Ardmore, Reading, or Westchester for a test drive today.
Hurry into the Acura Summer of Performance event happening now.
You don't need another opinion, just the facts.
What caused that crash on the Schuylkill? Will it rain before the kids' game? What happened at the school board meeting last night?
At KYW News Radio, we don't take sides. We take notes, delivering the information you need to make the best decisions for your family.
The news you need whenever you need it.
Depend on KYW News Radio, Philadelphia's most trusted news leader for more than 60 years.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
.633 Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. Casey Bartholomew Show. I'll be with you until 7. Stick around after 7. That's when Fox Across America with Jimmy Fela comes on. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. We're going to get right to the phone calls here. TikTok has reached a settlement with a teenager because of his social media addiction. There was another 20-year-old, I guess was a teenager at one point, who got addicted, and she got some money. Everybody's getting money. All the parents have to do is parent their kids and keep them off social media. It's not the internet's fault that your kid is addicted. It's your fault for not keeping them away. I want to know who you blame here, the parents or Meta. 855-839-1210. Let's go to Phil in Delaware. Phil, you're on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT with Casey. Go ahead.
And good evening, Casey. Hey. It's a pleasure to finally talk to you.
Pleasure to talk to you.
So about 2-3 months ago, up in Bucks County, there were these kids that took it on themselves to give themselves the afternoon off and go fight ice. And
cool.
What was interesting was the school district purposely went out of their way to announce in class this will not be allowed, and they took it on themselves to do it. Okay. So there were five that were arrested, and at a city council, I guess about a week and a half after the kids' little tantrum, they had the parents go in and talk at the council. So an interviewer from one of the local stations was interviewing a couple of parents. And getting to your point, which you're right on point, they asked, what do you hope to achieve? Well, you know, this city has to take responsibility for their police and for everything. And the kids are just getting this stuff off the internet and yada, yada, yada. And I immediately thought exactly what you said, that you can't hold an inanimate object like the internet or something else as responsible as a parent that should be on top of what their children are doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's ultimately, I mean, look, the best evidence of this, everything you and I are both saying, Phil, is that the kid was on social media from the time he was 8. A kid doesn't get on social media when they're 8. They get on social media with the help of their parents when they're 8 years old. So if you have a kid who's getting on social media when they're 8, that is bad parenting. If I say, I don't know who this kid is because it's just initials, but you show me this kid, I'll show you a kid with rotten parents. Same as the girl who's 20 now. The rotten parents are not paying attention to what their kids do. It is not Meta's job to raise my kids. It is mine.
And to that point, what about when we were children? Are we going to sue the creators of Mr. Rogers and Captain Noah because they?
I don't know who those people are. I know Mr. Rogers. I don't know Captain Noah.
Oh,
I'm a little younger than you, I think.
They were what we used to call helicopter parents. Mm-hmm. The parents couldn't give the time. They sat and read the paper, talked with their friends, while their kids were left to other out of the parents' care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's not the object of having a kid.
No.
The object is raising a kid, seeing him succeed, help him in ways that you can help him.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, that kid's got to fly on their own.
Exactly. And you know what? It does. I don't care what anybody says, and I'm not trying to knock Hillary Clinton, although she's worthy of it. But ever since she wrote that damn book, it does not take a freaking village. It takes a mom and a dad. And I don't give a damn what the village says, because the village would have said, oh, social media is cool. Everybody get on social media. It's the best. But a mom and a dad are supposed to be the ones who have to say no. And too many parents are afraid to say no these days. And when something bad happens, we see this all the time. Anytime anything bad happens, we don't file lawsuits against who's really guilty of it. We go after the deepest pockets and try to get a big pile of money. And that's all this is. These are parents who are refusing to do their job as parents, and all they want is a big pile of money.
Well, you know what? Taking a step further with the gun issue, a kid goes into a school and shoots them up.
Gun's fault.
So there's no accountability or responsibility for how the child got the gun, or the fact that they were having these mental issues that needed to be recognized and noticed by the parents that were nowhere around.
That's starting to change. That is starting to change. They are actually going after the parents. There have been a couple of lawsuits. I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but there have been a couple of lawsuits where they have gone after the parents, and the parents have been convicted, as they should be. And in this particular case, if you've got a kid who's got mental issues, then somebody needs to come in and go after these parents, because they are doing a bad job, and it's not Zuckerberg's fault. All right, Phil, thanks for calling WPHT. I appreciate it. Let's go to Kevin in Bucks County. Kevin, you're on WPHT with Casey. Go ahead.
Hello, sir. As the person who owns GregStockerSucks.com, I need to take umbrage.
Okay.
So if you give me a minute. For the most part, I was a Mr. Mom, but I was laissez-faire, hands-off in my parenting. Okay. My oldest is a nurse. My 27-year-old has a master's in art therapy. My other daughter now has a full ride studying forensic chemistry at Chestnut Hill, and my son is now taking 5 AP classes. What
You're hired.
I think you're failing to miss is that Meta and TikTok, they purposefully designed the algorithm to make it addictive, akin to cigarettes, when they didn't tell people, yeah, we're doing this on purpose. And that's
where are the
one
parents?
thing. Even though you're parenting and you're helicoptering and maybe locking and not allowing the kids early, but they have friends. You know what I mean?
So
that's what I think is missing, is the fact that the algorithm is purposefully designed to psychologically make these kids addicted.
That's why you limit their access to the algorithm. That's why you limit their access to the product. You limit your kids' access to Meta.
Agreed to disagree, because my kids are amazing, and I left them unfettered. But
I don't ever agree to disagree. I'm right.
Okay. in your opinion?
No, not in my opinion. I don't ever agree to disagree. I wouldn't talk about something if I was so wishy-washy about it that I was going to agree to disagree. I don't ever agree to disagree.
But you have to look at the research.
I'm right.
There's been proven.
I agree. I'm sure they're addictive. So is fried chicken is addictive because of the because it's tasty and it feels good. But if a parent allows a kid to eat too much of it, they get charged with child abuse. That happens all over the place.
Kids are smart enough that they can access. They can do VPNs. They can do pirating stuff. It's no different than we were able to sneak our cigarettes back in the day.
I've never tried a cigarette, but okay, that's fine. But either way, I don't blame the companies for making a product. I blame the parents for not controlling access to the product. I said, the great example is fried chicken. It's fried or any tasty food, anything that makes a kid fat. We go after the parents. We don't go after the food manufacturer for making the food taste good. So no, I don't agree to disagree. I agree that you're wrong. What?
Right? We went after the cigarette manufacturers because
they were lying.
Made something addictive.
But they were lying about it.
Yeah, well, they were.
That's different.
Meta wasn't being forthright and saying, "Oh, we're designing our algorithm to make it addictive to kids."
Well, they were also advertising to kids, it's different. I understand what you're trying to say. I get it. I don't disagree with it at all. But they were openly lying about it, what they were trying to do. I believe that this is not the same kind of thing. I believe this is the parents not taking an active role in their kids' lives. The parents make sure you get the cell phone. The parents make sure you're not on your cell phone all the time. The parents make sure all that stuff is happening and they can get a control over everything. I do not blame the internet companies for the bad things that are happening to these kids, and the parents can't see it. That's what I don't like.
I understand, but because I was laissez-faire and hands-off as a parent, my kids turned out great, and they had access to internet way early.
They must have had a better mother because you sound like a hippie. All right, man. Thanks for calling WPHT. I appreciate it. That's just you can be laissez-faire. I mean, there's going to be exceptions to every rule, and sometimes parents can be good parents without realizing they're good parents, right? Sometimes parents can set the example and have conversations about things. Like if you have a parent who sits there with their nose shoved down in the internet all the time, just looking online and looking at Meta and looking at the Instagram and all that, then your kids are going to see that, and you're leading by example. You may not have been the most hands-on parent, let's say, Kevin, but I'm sure maybe you lived your life in such a way or conducted yourself in such a way that your kids saw it during their formative years when they were looking up to you. This kid is 8 years old and had parents who let him get a social media profile at 8 years old, and that's ridiculous. Let's go to Jeff in Exton. Jeff, you're on WPHT with Casey. Go ahead.
Hey, Casey. Good evening. How are you?
Doing great.
I was just calling to say that I didn't get my first phone until I was 14, number one. And it was a flip phone. So, all the crap that's going on today is most likely... I'm sorry?
I loved my flip phone. I had a Razor. I loved it.
I needed it because I was going back and forth to school.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
And that's why I got my kids. I gave my kids each got a cell phone when they were 12 because they were taking the bus to and from school, and my wife and I worked. So we made that concession.
First 2 years of high school, I took the train back and forth, and that's why I needed a phone. Otherwise, I didn't have it at all, and I didn't miss it. And it's unfortunately it's the parents. So
and maybe it's like I said, I didn't make so hardcore of a rule about it, but they knew they weren't getting the phone so that they could text or message their friends or do anything. They were getting their phone because they were taking the bus, and my wife and I were someplace else. And if there were a problem, they needed to be able to get a hold of me or her, and that was that's what we did. So I mean, but we didn't say, okay, here's a phone, bye. And I think that's what these parents did.
In place of my phone, I had a Game Boy, so that's what I had.
A Game Boy? Are you 100?
Yes, sir. No.
You get a Switch now. You don't get a Game Boy.
I had a Game Boy back in the day.
Oh, and back in the day. Okay, I thought you meant today. I was like, do you still even make a Game Boy?
No.
All right, very cool.
Not now, sir. Back in the day.
Sure. Okay. No, I get it. Okay. And now I understand. I am up to speed. All right, Jeff. Thanks for calling WPHT. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Yeah, that's my daughter and my son. They both didn't get their cell phones. Like, here, the world of social media is now open to you. They got a cell phone because My son just graduated high school. And he was in now they're banning cell phones all over schools, all over the place, right? And his school banned cell phones. So you couldn't have it out. And we had a little bit of a problem with the school because they said, first time we're taking it away. Second time it's going to cost you $10 to get it back. And I didn't know that. And I had to go to the office to get it. And they said, that's $10. And they put it on the counter, and I picked it up. And I said, I'm not paying you $10 for my cell phone. You can punish him, but I'm not giving you cash because you're holding my cell phone. If you try to take it, we're going to have a problem. They said, well, those are the rules. You agreed to the rules. I said, I didn't agree to anything. You made those the rules, and it's a public school that I'm required to send my kid to. But I didn't agree to any rules whatsoever. And so we had to go back and forth a little bit about that. Long story short, I didn't end up paying the $10 because I can get loud. I didn't yell, but I can get loud and very opinionated. And I was dealing with this woman, and then the principal guy came out, and I started dealing with him, and things started getting very tense. And they kept telling me, you have to pay the $10 to get the cell phone back. And I said, the cell phone is in my pocket. How are you going to make me pay $10 for a cell phone that is in my pocket? And we went back and forth with it. And they said, okay, well, just make sure. If he does it again, he's going to get a detention. If he does it again, I said, fine. You can suspend him. I don't care. He's not supposed to have the cell phone. But I didn't end up paying $10 for that. So things like that happen. Anyway, 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. We'll take more of your phone calls if you think these social media companies are responsible for raising your kids, or maybe the parents. We'll take your calls, get some other stuff as well. I'm Casey Bartholomew, 647. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
You've got bikes, you've got scooters, you've got delivery drivers. Now we have robots. What does it say about a city? And I get it, this is the direction of technology. All of the extra technology that's moving as you're trying to move in an already congested city. I think there's going to be a lot of pushback and resistance to the robots here in Philadelphia. Short of the bougie crowd that's going to love it in and around Market and Chestnut.
Send me my Chipotle on this robot from Uber. Like, are we that lazy?
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings, 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
For almost 10 years, I've been a lineman for the power company. I know that service is important. That's why I also serve in the Coast Guard Reserve. Our crews respond to rising floodwaters in the Midwest, oil spills in the Gulf of Mexico, and disasters like the Haiti earthquake. The Coast Guard Reserve is a challenge I gladly take on because my country needs me.
If you were born ready, learn more at GoCoastGuard.com.
Sponsored by the United States Coast Guard in cooperation with the Pennsylvania Association of Broadcasters and this station.
All right, what's the weather like out there?
It's hot, 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 real hot.
Can you tell me what it feels like?
Were you born on the sun? I said it's hot.
This is Jonathan Cans, third generation owner of Marvin E. Cans Heating and Air Conditioning. Is this how you're feeling right now? Well, don't let your house feel like a rainforest anymore. To keep your home cool, contact us at marvinecans.com. That's marvinekanze.com.
Experience matters, especially when you're making an investment in your next vehicle. At Lexus of Cherry Hill, they've built their reputation the right way. Veteran and family owned and operated, and recognized as an 8-time J.D. Power Dealer of Excellence for the customer sales experience. From the refined Lexus RX to the powerful and capable GX, you'll find performance, luxury, and reliability in every model. Visit Lexus of Cherry Hill in Mount Laurel or lexusofcherryhill.com. Lexus of Cherry Hill, doing business the right way. For J.D. Power of Excellence information, visit jdpower.com/US-DOE.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet?
Not yet.
Do it today.
Okay.
At 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
.650 Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Casey Bartholomew. I'll be with you until 7 o'clock, just a few more minutes. That'll be when Fox Across America with Jimmy Fala comes on. 855-839-1210 is our number. That's 855-839-1210. I heard about this in the news, and I just wanted to share it with you. Registered sex offenders can hold office in California. I don't know what the rules are here. I don't think registered sex offenders should be able to breathe anywhere. I think anybody who's a registered sex offender shouldn't be out. I think every registered sex offender needs to be in a cage somewhere. But I heard this during the news at the top of the hour last hour. Registered sex offenders can continue running for public office in California after a panel of state senators killed a proposal that would have prohibited them from doing so. You know, and I'm from California. I left California in 1999, right? They've lived there since the last century. I wonder if they make decisions like this that they know are going to make the news. And I wonder if they realize how freaking ridiculous they look when they do that. The state Senate's Elections Committee yesterday rejected the proposal, AB 2753, in a 2-1-2 vote. What does that mean? Democratic San Diego State Senator Sabrina Cervantes and Republican State Senator Stephen Choi voted yes. Committee's chairman, Democratic San Francisco State Senator Scott Wiener, of course, voted no. So that means a guy named Scott Wiener wants registered sex offenders to be able to hold office. Sure. While Democratic Santa Ana State Senator Tom Umberg and El Segundo State Senator Ben Allen abstained from... Why would you abstain from a vote that would keep registered sex offenders from holding office? Why wouldn't you step up for that one? That makes no sense to me. The proposal passed the state assembly unanimously before reaching the state senate, where it is not now going to go forward. A Fresno Democratic Assembly member, Esmeralda Soria, I don't know, wrote the proposal after registered sex offender Rene Campos tried to run for Fresno City Council. He pleaded no contest in 2018 to a misdemeanor charge of being in possession of child sex abuse material and wanted to run for office. Soria's proposal aimed to block anyone listed in California's 3-tiered sex offender registration system from running for office. Tier 1 offenders remain on the registry for up to 10 years, Tier 2 for 20 years, and Tier 3 for life. Democratic Senator Scott Wiener, who voted no on this, by the way, chairman of the Senate's Elections Committee, expressed concerns about the bill's broad scope. What? You're a sex offender, you can't run for office. What's broad about that? It's pretty specific. Wiener said he would only support the measure and allow it to move forward if it applied exclusively to the Tier 3 offenders, and they declined to make the amendment. Soria said after the vote, "I'm extremely disappointed, and I feel like I'm trying to process what we just saw, that people voted in favor." Literally, a guy named Wiener voted in favor of allowing sex predators to hold elective office. That's awesome. She said, "I think the fight still continues. I made a promise to my community. We'll continue to make sure it's loud and clear to ensure no registered sex offender is able to run or get elected in state or local office." When asked why she refused to accept the committee's amendments, she said all offenses in each tier should disqualify anyone from holding public office. Tier 1 includes child molestation and enticing a child to prostitution. Tier 2 includes incest and sodomy with a minor. So the idiot Democratic State Senator Scott Wiener in California is okay with literally on the record as being okay with child molesters and people enticing children into prostitution, as well as people who engage in incest and sodomy with a minor, of holding public office in the state of California, which is why, even though I was born there, I will never again, ever again, live in the state of California because, ew. On every level, ew. That is the most and people actually voted this. I don't know how you would vote this down, but they did, and there it is. Okay, we're all out of time. I want to thank everybody for listening and calling in today. Mary Walter is sitting in tomorrow. Fox Across America is next. I'm Casey Bartholomew, 655 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Bucks County Estate Traders is celebrating 250 years of American craftsmanship and quality. Enjoy the rich history behind many of their over 16,000 pieces of furniture and decor. Complete any room, indoor and outdoor, all with the kind of craftsmanship you just don't find anymore. Right now, everything is 20 to 50% off their 4th of July sale. But hurry, it ends July 7th. Visit their Hatfield showroom or shop online at Bucks County.